Okay. We got about 5 minutes left. I'll make intros real quick, Aubrey.
Okay, that's fine. I invited Kari Cook to come as well because she wanted to have a conversation with me about what we're about to talk about next week. So I figured this might be a good Kickstarter for her.
Yeah, well, yeah, and she's having conversations and whatnot. So yeah, she should be here. Actually, a lot of my students. That's what I'm working on today.
What is the expected count today?
Usually 20 to 25.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Okay.
You always get extra.
It's cool. I just adapt. That's me, right? It's adaptability.
That's it right there.
You coming to ALC on Thursday, like at the office?
Yeah, I hope so. I've got a client that's in dire straits, so I've got to. Well, I'll probably be in Rockaway Beach tomorrow.
Oh gosh, Matt, that's terrible. I'm so sorry for you. My condolences on your beach trip.
Sounds horrible, doesn't it?
It really does.
Got to make
I
it.
have the world's tiniest violin.
Oh, I know.
It's a terrible job, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, this will be the first time I've met him, and he's pending on his house. So now there's this panic.
Twitch. So I just had a situation too. I just got under contract in Newburgh, and she had a very, very, very kind of narrow scope of what she wanted to buy, and we just lucked out. We did. We just lucked out. We hustled the day she got it pending. We found another one and got it under contract, subject to the sale of her house, of course. So now we're all like just twitching because, of course, there's inspections to go through, and we're like, la la la, everything's fine.
It's all good.
It's all good.
And/or representing legally recognized non-agency capacities. Two, the fact that buyer
I didn't realize that I have admit powers too. That's exciting.
I know, right?
It was very powerful.
And I've turned on the doorbell for you so that if somebody pops in while you're presenting and whatnot and going over things, then
I appreciate that.
as annoying as it is, it does provide help.
It's cool. We're gonna get to like a couple minutes after 1.
Yeah, usually we'll get a big rush.
Right at
1.
1.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I'm taking roll right now, getting everybody up.
And let me know too if any of these folks are from Sunset. I don't recognize anybody yet, but How many people do you have in the Sunset program right now?
23.
I know because I stole one of them. Well, I didn't really steal her.
She's still being productive.
She is. That she is.
Yeah, I got some good ones. I have one today that he started his own radio ad.
That's awesome.
2 weeks in the business. Here you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Okay. Let's see here. Give everybody a couple more minutes.
That's fine. It's a doorbell and then a toot-toot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right. See? I'm like,
indeed. Oh, Laura's she's at Sunset. right?
Yep.
Mhm.
I love it when you have somebody you're writing down and all of a sudden it disappears.
I'm gonna have people turn on their videos too.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure we'll have some people coming in. But I just wanted to, well, let's see here. There we go. There we go. Now I can kind of see. Hi everybody. It's Monday. Welcome to Ignite. I'm Matt Spate. I am the host greeter today. So you're going to be blessed with Build Your Business today with Aubrey Martin, and she is fantastic. But I want to start by doing how we always start Ignite, and that is going to be with some accountability and some check-ins. So first of all, who has something good to share with me that happened over the weekend?
I do.
Spill
Hey,
it.
Matt.
How are you?
I'm great. So Alex and I, on Friday, we finished up our 10 homes. We did 6 homes on Friday to get us to 10 for last week. We created a Facebook group for guys hanging out, going on hikes, playing sports, getting together, drink beers, and bend. There's a lot of groups like that for women. My girlfriend's Alex is in one of the groups, and there are a lot of members that get together a lot. So great way to network there. But our big thing was on Sunday, we had a buyer's consult, and we got our buyer's representation agreement signed. So we have our first real client, and we're going to find him a great home.
Way to go. Sounds like a great weekend.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well done. Who's got something else?
I do,
Okay.
I guess. So I used to be an event planner, and I was working with one of my catering contacts this week to help a friend who's planning her wedding next month. And while we were building her menu, she was like, oh, by the way, I got the letter that you sent me updating me about the baby you had and that you just got your real estate license. And my mom wants to sell her house and buy a new one, and I would love to connect you. So they're going out of town for a bit, but when they get back in 2 weeks, I'm going to sit down and have a buyer's presentation and seller's presentation, I guess, with her mom. So I'm really excited about that.
Well done.
Yay.
That is awesome. Anybody else?
This is Jamar. I'm kind of in that same boat, with the exception, so this is where I don't know. I was working towards getting the appointment but he's a truck driver, and we didn't necessarily schedule the appointment, but we planned for next Saturday. So I guess I want to say I got a buyer's consultation appointment, but I haven't officially scheduled it. He hasn't confirmed to the time, but the conversation went well. It started off as him just looking for a property. And then as we kept talking, he said, now I want a real nice property. So initially he said he had $350K to put down, but he were looking for a house around 300,000. So a lot of different parts of a conversation. We ended up turning a 5-minute conversation to about a 45-minute conversation. He got to telling me about his work and everything he do. I felt pretty good about the conversation. So did he. So Matt, you might have to sit in with me on doing a buyer consultation. Just in case.
I got you. I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it. That's awesome. It's about having the conversations. What was the old saying? Fake it till you make it.
Correct.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Got enough knowledge that that will get you through it. But yeah, I'll be there. Coordinate times. Okay. So let's see, we still got some people coming in. All right. So it sounds like we've got some production going on, which is a good thing. And then, of course, we start off every Ignite with accountability and what that looks like. I'm going to get writer's cramp by the end of this. So let's see here. So let's start with April McKenzie. How'd you do this weekend? Contacts, notes, add to the database.
So I am not in the database yet because I don't have my license yet, but I passed
Okay.
my test on Friday. So I'm waiting for the
Yay!
background. Yay!
Congrats.
And I thank you. I was real happy. But I did send out a notice on my Facebook that I had passed the test and that I was excited about going forward. I got quite once I got the access to the people.
Very cool. Well done. Congrats. That helps. Brandy.
Thanks.
So on Friday, I did do a showing for a house, which was really exciting. The thing is, though, there was some type of issue with his pre-approval letter, so I'm still working with him on that. And hopefully, when that gets all settled in, we can actually do an offer. And I did talk to one of my old bosses today as well. And he's actually looking to buy. And so he's not ready yet, but once he does get ready, he said he'll definitely give me a call to set up a buyer's meeting.
Very cool. And it's important there to follow up with him as well and just check in to let him know you were thinking about him if he hasn't done anything in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Let's see, Gwendolyn.
Well, I've had more than a little bit of difficulty, to be frank. I have at this point, I have exhausted everybody on my friend list in Facebook. I haven't because a lot of them are out of state, which is, not terribly beneficial. So I don't have a very big sphere so far. But I made more contacts today over the weekend. I think I made about, let me think, like, I want to say like 15 or 16, but today I ran out of friends on my friends list on Facebook. I don't have a very big social media presence. And in Florence right now, I can't attend a showing because there are literally no showings or open houses or anything. There's nothing coming down the pipeline. So I intend to go to some open houses in Eugene or in Roseburg. As soon as I am able to do that, I will. However, I did contact somebody that I served with, and remarkably enough, she ended up in Oregon as well. And unfortunately, I got her right after she got a listing agent for her house, which was kind of a kick in the pants. But I was able to increase my sphere that way, and she's going to keep me in mind. I'm sending her business cards, but she's also a freelance interior decorator. So it kind of enhances her motivation to distribute my information if she can also have the referral for, hey, I know someone who can help with interior decorating, if So I'm kind of feeling a little bit I'm not making any progress. It's kind of upsetting me a little bit, to be honest. So
Patience is a virtue, and I will tell you, you're in the right place because today will knock your socks off.
What do you mean? Really?
Here's a little preview, Gwendolyn. I'm Aubrey, by the way. But hi, I'm from out of state too. I actually lived in Oregon and then moved back about 4.5 years ago and had zero sphere, like literally zero. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, is how to build a big business with no sphere.
Oh,
It's literally the topic.
well, how perfect is that? That's serendipitous. I'll take it.
Because you're not the only one, right? You're
No.
not the only one, right?
Absolutely not.
That's good
We're all
news.
we all come from different places, but we're in the same place. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. I'm gonna butcher this. Jackie Rogers.
You're right, it's Jackie.
Jackie. Okay.
So I'm kind of bummed out, but it's not for the same reason. I had KW access, like my KW access for all of like 24 hours and it just disappeared. And they're working really hard to get it fixed for me. Everybody's working on it and they said it's just a glitch with just me. And so it literally says that my access has been taken away, like it's just gone. So I was all gung-ho to enter all of my hard work into Command, and I was working on a business card and I was just getting stuff done, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. Middle of the night, I was doing all this. So and then I had a women's conference. I kind of just used it to network this weekend and just talk to people. I more or less, I didn't bring up a lot of real estate, but I just made connections with people so that they would know who I am. And so I'll just foster those relationships and add them as new contacts in my life. And then I ended up designing a business card through another website instead. And I'm working on getting that printed now. I've got approval. I'm still writing things down that I have to enter into Command. So I think that once I get my access back, I'll just feel better in general. And I also, like, of the conversations I had, I think 3 of them are going to be possible buy and or sell. So there's some good news there.
Love it. Well done. Well done. And hopefully they're onto that KW thing. Leah.
Leah said that she can't talk right now because her husband's doing a Zoom interview at the moment. So hopefully you can come back around.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Marissa.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'll start with Friday. So Friday I made 4 contacts and I put them into my database. I also met with a title company in Eugene and it kind of got my face out in front of them. And then I went to 2 showings and looked at a couple homes on Friday as well. The weekend I kind of took off a little bit because I had some plans with my family, but this morning I've gotten 2 leads, one being my hairdresser, went and got my haircut, and her husband are actually looking to buy. She didn't really know where to start, so I gave her contact information for Caitlin that we met with last week, so she had somewhere to start and get advice from.
Love it. Well done. Way to go. Natalie.
So this weekend I shadowed an open house on Saturday, so that was like really exciting and a ton of fun actually. And then this morning I was supposed to be meeting with the title company, but like Monday happened and she had to reschedule, so we're doing that on Wednesday, and then really just kind of going through the list of people I know and seeing who knows people in Oregon.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Taylor.
Hey, so over the weekend, I started doing a little bit of cold calling, and I made a couple of clients. One lead, he said he was looking into buying in the next few months. So I'm just gonna put him on a smart plan, and then from there, just gonna keep cold calling. And so far, it's slowly moving along.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Laura.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good.
I don't think I'm as far along as everybody else, but this is my first class today, so I'm excited about that. I did shadow Daphne from the property group with her listing this weekend, and I've shadowed her before, so she's always really helpful and awesome. And it was exciting. There was 20 offers put in on that house.
Well
So
done.
yeah, she definitely had her work cut out for her. She was trying to show me how she kind of sorts out and looks through the contracts, and so that she is prepared to present that to the sellers and that sort of thing. And just like minimal stage setting and stuff like that. So that was fun. Also got to see her when she was speaking to people who weren't represented, and kind of her pitch for that too.
Okay. Sounds like a productive weekend.
I love that because I was Daphne's mentor. So I love hearing
Oh,
she is
see,
the best.
I was Daphne's client. She got us our house last year. And then we ended up being her neighbor. And now she's like my mentor. So
She is like the best.
I know. I love her.
Yes, me too.
Alex. That's awesome.
So Alex Daly pretty much said everything that's been going on with us. One thing that I'll add is that we've reached out to a local lender in the area, and we're going to be meeting with her this Saturday. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, we met with the buyer and started the Facebook page and all that good stuff.
Okay, perfect. Michaela.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Well, I'm not honest. I'll be honest. I'm not doing the 10-4. I'm doing, kind of as much works for me and my family right now. I've got an 8-week-old baby, and we have had family and friends coming to visit, like staying with our house and stuff. So my time is I'm making things happen when I can. Like I've been watching all the videos from last week that I missed at night, So I haven't been calling people necessarily, but I did like I said, a baby letter. We had a baby, Happy New Year, whatever. And I've been sending that out. Initially, I sent it to like 60 people, but then I added a blurb about me being an agent. So I just decided to send it to like everybody that could even care. Like I sent it to our home insurance representative at Country, and just, so I've sent like 100 of them so far, and I've got a few more that I intend to send out. And then I've done a couple of phone calls with people that have responded that they got the letter and liked it. And it's been fostering some conversation. And I'm not the most social person. I've never been like super friendly. So it's more important to me to come off as genuine as opposed to like, oh, I'm just doing forward conversations so I can get to me with people. So I'm kind of doing a slow roll right now, but I'm okay with that. So
Aubrey's shaking her head.
Cool, thanks. Yeah. Doing what I can,
The best thing we have in this industry is to be genuine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like if somebody called me and they asked me like a formulaic, like, how's your family? How's your job? How's your life? Well, anyway, enough about you. Now let's talk about me, So
love it.
Yeah, I want to work on being more genuine.
Gosh, Michaela, you and I are going to get along just fine.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Actually, one of my favorite lines is Bette Midler. She's like, oh, enough about me. How about you? What do you think of me? That's kind of what I used to be like. So I'm trying to be a better friend and, resource for people than that. So.
Jamar.
Like I said, this weekend had a very productive call lead that I am planning on or waiting on a response to confirm our appointment for Saturday. Outside of that, I've added, I think last week I added 3 or 4 people into my database. Today I was working with the title company to get my business listing for real estate all tied together with the LinkedIn and Facebook and a couple of my KW websites, and then I'm putting together my business cards. So all in all, trying to make
the Google thing. Was that Stuart Title?
Yes, that was Stuart Title. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sam, I know this is your first time, right? We just welcome to KWSC. So what we do here, I'll explain a little bit, but in Ignite, we check in and 10 contacts a day, 5 notes a day. And if you can and for the week, you have 10 showings for the week to look at homes. So welcome to KWSC. Welcome to Ignite. We're excited to have you. Do you have any questions?
I mean, this is my first meeting here, so I'm pretty,
Soak
I'm
it
just
in.
an open book. I'm
Soak
trying to
it in.
absorb what's going on.
Okay, perfect.
You know, I did get my business started last week, so that's good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. So Kyle, we'll move on, and if you have any questions, feel free. All right. Kyle, is Kyle still here? Kyle. Kyle has left the building. No, he's back. Annie. And
How about Yvonne?
Brody, you're next, Yvonne. So Brody added 2 contacts over the weekend, so you can go, Yvonne. Yvonne, how'd you
All
do
right. I have show houses. I show houses over the weekend, and I vote for my president in Peru over the weekend, so that was cool. And I got a lot of business. Actually, 2 calls this morning, but not to the real estate business for some reason. So, Matt, what?
There she is.
I'm going bananas in here. Well, thank you. I want to say thank you.
Can we do a shameless plug? If anybody's in Beaverton, Hillsborough, Portland area, she's got a house cleaning business for the last
24 years.
24 years, and Aubrey, her what's the word I'm looking for? Meets my wife's. Her expectations meets my wife's expectations.
I'm compulsive.
Yes. So if
I need that
anybody-
info
Yeah.
for my house.
I got a moving in today from a realtor, Victoria Cooper. Anybody knows her? She's
is it?
from Knipe Realty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know her? Where did you put me? She said she saw me in. Where did you put my name?
Everywhere. Anybody who will listen.
Wow. I don't even know her. She just, I don't know her. And she just went like, okay, tomorrow, go.
Okay.
She didn't even ask how much, anything. She just went, go. And I just got a call right 5 minutes ago from another lady who just bought a house. And she's, okay, for May 17, I want you to go there. She never asked me how much and nothing. And just go. I'm like, okay, of course I say yes. So I'm like, okay, hold it.
Love it.
Do you
I
know
love it.
anybody who needs to work?
Yeah, so put that out
I
there.
need help.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And you have clients in real estate, so well done.
Yeah,
Jerry,
and when I got a client in real estate and she's looking for a house, she's not quite, I don't think she really knows what she wants. She wants Beaverton, but it can be Southeast also, and Northeast could be, or maybe Vancouver. So I'm like, okay, I'll
Little bit
see
of
what I can
everywhere.
do. She's all over the place.
Okay, perfect.
So anyway,
Well,
enough
that's
of
good.
me.
Congrats. Sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn.
Hi. Well, over the weekend, I actually reached out to a bunch of my Facebook clients, invited 85 people to like my page, my business page on Facebook, which started some conversations. And so I got a couple of people who know of people that they're going to pass on my information. I asked them for the information, but I had to kind of tiptoe around that. There's like a little bit of a block of privacy for the other people. So I did ask also each person I've talked to, I said, hey, can I mail you some business cards which gives me an opportunity to get their address to put
Yep.
into my database. So, because I have a lot of emails and Facebook contacts, but not a lot of physical addresses. So,
And
yeah.
anything you can do to just ask that question and say, and ramp that up, then that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Facebook Messenger, Christmas time is a great time to also reach out. We don't want to wait. We don't want you to wait till Christmas, but it's another time to actually focus on your database.
Yeah.
Fill it up. Noe, thanks.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, bud.
Well, I've finished. I think I have 26 people added to my database. I've mailed everybody a letter with business cards. Went and looked at a couple of houses yesterday. That was fun.
I saw that.
Finally, I was able to log into the RMLS and figure out how that works. So that was fun.
Okay.
And then this week we'll be adding more contacts and calling everybody that I add.
Love it. Sharon. Well done. Sharon. Nope. Joyce.
Hi.
Hi.
I was gone over the weekend picking up my college kids, so lots of driving, but I haven't added people to my contact list, but I've been trying to make a goal to meet at least 2 people a day that I see someone on a regular basis, and trying to develop those relationships, and then they seem to naturally gravitate, oh, what do you do? And then moving on from there. But I have had an opportunity when I hear someone talking near me that I want to jump in and say something, but I don't have a script. Like I know this person that I work with in my coaching job, and he owns a trust company, and I hear him talking to someone. Yeah, we were looking at a couple of buildings yesterday, and I don't know how to later on jump in and say, hey, tell me about the buildings you were looking at and where to go from there. I feel so inexperienced and like, hey, I just got my license last week. Why don't you buy some property from me?
Our biggest fear, and that we have to overcome, is our limiting beliefs. See, in real estate, it has nothing to do with us. It has to do all about them. And we ask them the questions to devise a strategy that best suits their needs. Okay, so Scripps practice, 8:20 every morning, Tuesday through Friday. And it is in my Zoom room at 526-049-8196. And we go over all of these things. And just plug that number in to Zoom, and you should be able to join. And that's what we do, is we give you the tools to have these conversations, to feel more comfortable, and these objections that we have in our own head. But once we figure out that every client is for them, this is for them and not about you.
Can I have a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
Not to get to take too much time, but I totally agree with you. Like, I am very excited and eager, but I'm also really hesitant. I don't want to reach out to people and then have no script, sound totally stupid, not be able to answer questions. And then my first interaction with people is, wow, she doesn't know what she's doing. And I don't want to burn these bridges. So in my mind, it's better to just hold off. And actually, Gary Keller says you have to have the earn phase before you have, or the learn phase before you have the earn phase. So that's where I'm at mentally right now. And I just want, what can you say to that? Like, is that valid, or should we be like, no, just go out there?
I think each individual is different, and you do whatever is comfortable for you. But it's having the conversations, getting your database up and going when you start, but then being able to understand. It took me probably 3 years to figure out that this business had nothing to do with me, and that it has to do with them and their goals.
Also, to speak to the the learn versus earn piece of it. I think that's totally true, but I also think that I think some people get really caught up in the education piece of it, and they become sort of paralyzed. So they're like, so they can say, I don't really know enough to jump in for months too. So it goes both ways. Like of course you need to have some sort of, you have to have some sort of background, but you have to remember too, is you have a whole brokerage behind you. So I'm sort of a fan of just like jumping in as long as you have a safety net, which is Matt. And then of course your market centers.
Lots of resources for those questions.
It is scary though in the moment though, when you have like to get into that conversation, like you said, Joyce, like you want to talk to them, but you don't really know what to say. And
I'll give you my three favorite words in any conversation. Tell me more.
More, yeah. Or fake it till you make it.
Yeah, tell me more, because then they're talking, everybody loves talking. We've already covered that today, right? Everybody loves talking about themselves.
Yeah.
So it's, tell me more. If you get to a question, well, tell me more. And they'll walk you down where they want to go. So those are great resources. But we do cover all that in 820. There is also in your Ignite books, there is scripts in there for when you just start and whatnot. If you can't make the 820, I'm trying to record them. Sometimes I forget. Okay. Anyway, did I miss anybody?
Yes, you missed me.
Hi, Brandy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, I mean, it's not like you missed much because I just got back to being active. I was hoping to have a client. I actually had to message Aubrey a couple weeks ago and ask for her like favorite lender, just so I could give a couple to this girl. But unfortunately, she is too busy working, which I get, totally get. She has kids, but she's also scared. So yeah, there's that. And I was just able to speak to her like over the weekend because technically I was not an agent. I was inactive. So I couldn't really speak to her about that. I just gave her lenders.
That helps.
But
and sometimes introducing them in a three-way text is a good way to go too, because ultimately their fear is they're not jumping in because of fear, or they're just not ready yet. But the key is getting them ready.
Well, I spoke with my lash girl because that's who I got it from. And apparently it was kind of like it was supposed to be dad, brother, daughter, or dad, brother, her. And then it changed to her and her boyfriend. So I think it's right now is just, they don't really know. But I do have her in my contacts. And then in the meantime, over the weekend, since I was waiting for RMLS and PMAR to be like, yeah, you're good. Well, PMAR says I was good, but I just wanted to give it till today. So I've been brainstorming and I want to order some like postcard type things and then like little sanitizers, because in my neighborhood, people are like very, very, very COVID conscious over here. So, and then just kind of like place little, what are they called? Like door hangers type things. Yeah. Because behind me is a whole bunch of houses. And then we also have townhomes in front of me that are for sale. Like they're not rentable. They're not rentable.
Okay.
So I was going to do that. But like I said, I just had to wait until everything gets the A-okay.
Perfect. That's great. It's great to see you back. And I already know who Aubrey sent her to. If it was Natalie, she'll be in good hands.
Yes, it was.
I love it. Okay. So we had a lot of activity, some frustrations, and frustrations, I will tell you this, is normal, right? And it comes with education. It comes with the learning, but it's also getting familiar and you're starting a new business. It's not going to happen overnight. So patience is a virtue. And today, we've already met her on a couple of occasions, but I'm going to introduce you to Aubrey Martin. Now, Aubrey and I go way back to our first Bold, and we started about the same time. Our paths have taken two completely, again, I don't want to say different, but she's amazing. And she continues to amaze me every day, the support and how, I don't know how she does everything that she does. But coming here 3 years ago from Maine, had her own pet store, if I remember correctly, and then came back. So she too did two businesses at the same time. Eventually rolled into a solo agent in Keller Williams Sunset Corridor. She has first-time homebuyer seminars. She works with those. She's hyper local, works in all price ranges. And more than anything, she's as genuine as you get. And that you can't teach.
For better or worse, right, Matt?
That's it. Right. I love it. So without further ado, I'm going to make you, before I do this officially, I'm going to make you the host.
Okay.
And then
while Matt's doing that, if you guys, if you can turn on your cameras, because this is going to be interactive, and you know, you're welcome to unmute if you don't have background noise. If you've got a lot of background noise, then just mute and then unmute when you want to chat. That would be great. But yes, that's how this works best.
Perfect. So without further ado, Aubrey Martin, it is all yours.
So thank you for showing up on this beautiful day. I would not want to be sitting here talking to me when it's 70 degrees and sunny in Oregon in April, but yet here we are. And so thank you for spending that time. I hope that you will find it useful. In light of that authenticity piece of it, I will say that I am sort of not a rule follower, and the folks who let me teach Ignite sort of know that I don't really follow the notebook, and I'm not going to be doing any of that. So they just sort of let me do what I want to do, and I'm grateful for it, because I think that there's a lot more really important conversations that happen when I'm not super bound to curriculum. And I've taught this class probably, I don't know, Matt, maybe 7 or 8 times at this point. So we are cash here. So I'm going to go through some things, but this is not a lecture. This is a seminar. So for those of you that went through lectures in high school and in college, this is not that. So let me just start by saying that my name is Aubrey Martin, and yes, I'm a solo agent at Sunset Corridor. I live in the Bethany area, which is near kind of Beaverton, unincorporated Washington County. And as Matt said, I'm not from here originally. I came out here for college about 20 years ago or something like that, and met my husband out here, who's from Washington. He's from Longview, actually, which is like the armpit of the universe, but there you have it. We're still married. And in fact, he's my director of operations, which is amazing. So what happened basically was, and I am from New York City originally, so I talk fast and I'm a little not polished, but like blame my Manhattan roots or whatever, but like it is what it is. So went back to Maine. We did, as Matt said, own pet supply stores, focusing on holistic pet nutrition for like 15 years. And it was a great business, and it's still running today. I sold it actually right at the beginning of the pandemic, and very grateful for that. But frankly, I got tired of talking about the texture of cat poop. And the fact is that the pay in pet foods is very little. And I've always been in some sort of consultative role, because I used to be a high school teacher. So I've always done stuff with education, whether through the stores or through school. And it is very much the same in real estate. I have a very strong business background. I'm a total geek. So I'm very interested in the micro markets and the data. You should become intimately familiar with Market Action Report on MLS and our TMOs, which are the total market overviews, hot sheets on MLS. You got to know what's going on in this market, because it is a very dynamic, crazy town sort of market in every part of the market. I know one of the folks said that they were in Central Oregon. Central Oregon is up 35% over this time last year. Like it is, and I mean in prices, And even on the west side here, Beaverton, Tigard area, we're up about 14%. And no matter where you are, Eugene is the same, Corvallis is the same, Southern Oregon, Medford, I mean, it is across the board because this is really actually happening all across the country. But I am with Martin Family Real Estate Group, and that
Can you repeat?
I will get to that. I will get to all of that. We're gonna really dive into that, but I just want to sort of go through the intro first piece. So my group includes myself, my husband is my director of operations. I pulled him away from a very lucrative career in web development to help me. I have 3 young children, 2 of which who just went back to school, thankfully, last week, part-time, yay. And I have a transaction coordinator who's in-house at Keller Williams at Sunset Quarter, and she has a listing coordinator. Plus I have 2 solo agents that I use as showing assistants. They're not on my team. And I tell you this because I'm literally a solo agent. I just have a lot of leverage, and I leverage out through things that are already available to me. I don't have anybody on my payroll. They're just basically getting, they get paid per transaction. And so the reason I tell you this is because I moved back to Oregon 4 years ago with absolutely no sphere whatsoever. Everybody that I knew from when I was here before, I lived in Bethany, I went to Evergreen up in Olympia, they were all gone. Everybody's gone. Are you a fellow greener or just live up in Ole, Sam?
Well, I went to Evergreen.
Did you? Sweet. Did you get your degree also in basket weaving?
No. No, music.
Mine is in 20th century French politics and theater management. So super marketable.
Cool. Maybe we should get together and put on a show.
Yes. I love that. That feels like a greener type of activity. Go Gooey Ducks. So when we came back to Oregon, yeah, I didn't know anybody at all. And started at John L. Scott, actually. It was a great brokerage and I learned a lot there, but it wasn't a good fit for me sort of in a culture way. So when I came to Keller Williams, I actually started on a team because I was nervous about going solo. And Leslie Hilbert, who is the interim team lead now there, but was the TL there at the time, just said, there's nothing about you that says that you should be on a team, like nothing. But I was like, no, I want to learn. And, I've only been in real estate for a year. In my first year in real estate, I did about 13 transactions. Then the year after that, I did 45. Last year, I did 59. And this year, I'm on track to do 70. So that's just right. So you're talking about a pretty swift trajectory there. And when if you're someone who doesn't know anybody, how the heck do you do that? So the very first thing I'm going to tell you is, and this I promise is the only video I'm going to show you, is for the database piece of it, this is your building time. You got to get your database in order, because once you start getting busy, you are going to have a very hard time getting back to that. So when I say database, and by the way, I completely use Command. I am not paying for any other sort of database or marketing stuff at all. In fact, I am very proud of the fact that I don't pay for leads. I don't do any of those things. Like everything I'm using is through KW. So when you get those people in Command, tag them. Who are they? Where did you meet them? Put them in a smart plan. What happens next? Because it's a great way to just set it and forget it, right? It doesn't mean you forget your database, but you don't have to keep worrying about what you've forgotten if you just get them in the database and get them on those smart plans. So that the database piece of it is really, really important. I do newsletters through it. As Matt said, I teach home buyer classes. I actually have one coming up on Thursday. I teach a seller's class as well. All of this stuff goes right through Command. When I have a Facebook ad for a listing, it dumps right back into Command. It's a really great tool and it's free. So you should use it, except for the poor gal who said that they kicked her out. And for some reason, she's not like in KW, which Jackie, I promise you are.
Question.
Okay. Hi, Noe. Hi.
Hi.
Yep.
So is there anybody at the market center that can help us set that up?
Command, yeah, totally. You can work through Matt to get it done, but that is agent services. So
yeah, I've been entering all the contacts there. That's what I'm using.
So the best person that I found was super helpful is actually not at the market center, not that they're not helpful, but if you go to KW Connect and you look up Nick Baldwin, He has a whole series on Command and how to get that going. He's super funny and really like easy, but he has like these videos and he can talk to you about how to set up Command, how to set up smart plans. You don't have to figure this stuff out on your own. He's really, really good.
Thank you.
Yes, Nick Baldwin is the man. Okay, I'm going to share my screen for a second here. And I'm going to play this video that they want me to play because Mara told me to, so I will. Okay. Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool.
Here we have Nancy. She is using her database to lead generate. Because her contacts are organized, she is able to make effective calls that yield results.
Hello, Mr. Smith. This is Nancy from Keller Williams Realty. How are you today?
You can see that because she took time to build, organize, and nurture her database, her business is growing and becoming profitable.
Okay, so you're not moving. Is there anyone else who is? Well, I wanted to talk to you about the inquiry you put in online for a new home. Yes. Well, can we meet at 2 o'clock on Tuesday? I'll put you down in my books. Thank you so much.
Here is Nancy. She doesn't think she needs a database. She has a system. Watch as she tries to lead generate.
Hello, Mr. Smith. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Johnson. This is Nancy. We met a couple weeks ago. You moved a month ago. Gosh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, is there another time we can talk?
As you can see, an organized database is your most valuable business asset. A powerful database produces productive and predictable leads. The results speak for themselves.
Yeah, so Nancy's a hot mess. But I mean, there is truth to that, right? Is like your database is just about being organized and just helping yourself stay on track. So I really believe in Command. I'm a total KW culture adapter. I was culture chair on Leadership Council last year. I'm actually equity chair this year. So for any of those who are interested, you should join your Leadership Council committee meetings because that's a really good way to get involved with the Market Center. But
what is the last name of Nick?
Baldwin. Like he's a total Baldwin. Baldwin.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Am I dating myself a little bit there? Laura, am I dating myself there a little bit? Okay. Okay. So a couple of things. My first year when I was at John L. Scott, I just really dove into open houses. And that's where I really sort of started. And this is what I'm going to tell you about, like this whole thing about lead generation. And I sincerely mean this, is that you have to commit to ones that you like doing. If you hate doing something, please don't do it. I have 3 different types, and we're going to really dive into this, of lead generation that I do and I commit to because I enjoy them. If you are an introvert, if you're not good on the phone, do not do cold calling as like your big lead generation. If you're great on the phone, then of course go do that. And I am not, by the way, negating any source of lead generation, but you have to find what works for you, where you feel comfortable and where you feel that you can be transparently yourself, right? Like this piece of it is really, really important. There are a lot of real estate agents out there. You're not going to be everything to everyone, and you totally should not do that. So my thing is that I'm totally social. And so open houses was a great place for me to start. And of course, that's where you meet a lot of buyers. But I will tell you the other thing that I did, and I heard some of you talking about things like letters, other things that you've done to sort of reach out to the community. But one thing that worked for me is I actually got connected with someone from the county, and in this case, it was Washington County, and she was in charge of, unfortunately, letting people know when they were going to be foreclosing on their home because they had not paid their property taxes. The reason why this was such a great relationship was because where I really cut my teeth on listings was this woman who was wonderful didn't want to foreclose on these people. So what she would do is when they were just about, you know, a couple of months away from being foreclosed on, is she would call me and she would say, hey, Aubrey, can you go over and do a comparative market analysis for them? And let's try to sell their house and get them some equity so that we don't have to foreclose on these poor people. And that's what I would do. I would go in and I would go and sell it. And then they would have this big chunk of change to pay off their property taxes and move on to the next step, right? So it's not always like super glamorous, but that is where I kind of started, between that and open houses. But I will tell you that the very best thing that I did, and I think it was Alex that said it earlier, but the very best thing that I did was right from the beginning is I decided to join a group called MOB, which is Mother Owned Businesses. And it is a national program. Give me one sec, Brandy. And the reason why this was a really crucial turning point in my career was because number one is I was networking and connecting with people that had similar things in their life that I was having going on, right? We're all business women and we have children. But what I started doing is I would invite them in for coffee for like 15, 20 minutes. And who were these women, right? These were house cleaners. These are contractors, window cleaners, naturopaths, like anybody that I thought would be a good fit so that I could be the resource for all of my clients. That's who I invited in. And these meetings were not about me at all. This was about their business. I met this woman named Trisha from PDX Aero Painting and Construction. I use her now on literally all of my listing preps. I refer her to all of my buyers. And we probably do about 25 or 30 projects a year together. And what's great about this is that this was a conversation that started with a 15-minute coffee date back in 2017 when I first started. She has referred to me 5 different listings since then. I mean, has that relationship with that $3 cup of coffee, did that pay for itself? I mean, it does, right? So one of my big focuses is business to business. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Business to business is super important when you don't have a sphere, because it doesn't matter if you have 1 million friends here. What you need to do is find out who are the people in your community that would serve a good need for your clients. It is what we are doing is we are being of value and of service, not about our business. I promise you it will come back to you. It is about being of service to your community, so that when someone in a community group on Facebook says, I'm looking for a painter, I tag Trisha. They're looking for a window cleaner, a house cleaner. They're looking for a landscaper, whatever. I just say, and the way that I phrase this is really, really simple. I'm with Martin Family Real Estate Group, and I refer Danielle with KJM Window Cleaner to all of my clients. I don't talk about real estate. I'm not doing any of that. All I'm doing is I'm referring someone who I have been doing business with and am impressed with, right? And then it can go further into that. When I have a closing, whether with a buyer or with a listing, I tag every single person that had anything to do with that closing in my Facebook posts. I am constantly promoting these people, always, so that it's cross-promotional. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Okay, you meet with somebody who is a painter, and you refer, that's clear, but how do you know this painter is the best painter, is not gonna make a mess in your clients? I mean, how do you know that this is a good referral?
Because when I meet with them, after I meet with them, I'm also calling people that they've done work for. Okay. And then I use them myself. And so I know that they do good work. So on the very first time before I've ever used them, right, or referred them, I meet with them for coffee and I say, hey, can you give me some references of people that you've worked with? Okay. And then, so that's how I start. And then I can see, because I've worked with Trisha on like 60 different projects. So I know exactly how she works, right? But this is, I want to express to you that I have an entire notebook that's called the Welcome Home Book that goes with every single one of my clients or anybody in the community that wants it. And it's residential services, it's professional services like accountants and lawyers and healthcare, whatever. There's health and wellness, and there's food and drink. So what started off as these little coffee dates became like this incredible sort of referral network, right? So which is really the first leg of my lead generation. And you should have 3, right? Because at some point, one of them may not feel good to you anymore. Like I don't do open houses that much anymore. And I didn't even before COVID, just because it didn't feel like the best usage of my time at that point. So I needed to have a different leg of lead generation. So you should always have 3. But my first big one, big is networking. So that notebook, that Welcome Home notebook, turned into a Facebook group that is called Welcome Home PDX, which is where, for those folks that have already received my notebook like 2 years ago, rather than like sending them new people every time I add someone, because I add people all the time, is now I just do it on the web page, so that on the Facebook page, so that they can see what's going on. Networking is super important, and I commit to it 3 times a week. And I don't have to make room for it in my schedule. It is literally part of my lead generation time. I lead generate 2 hours a day, and that lead generation time oftentimes comes from networking. So networking for me looks like a few different things. Number 1 is I started a BNI. Does anybody not know what a BNI is? BNI, Business Networking International. It is a group, it is a paid group where you meet with folks. In my group, we just started one about 1.5 years ago. We have about 21 people. It can get up to 40, 50 people, and it is specific to the industry. So in other words, there's only one realtor, there's one financial planner, there's one property and casualty insurance, right? There's one lender. And then you have people in every, it's category restricted, they call it. So here's the thing about a BNI. Like it's impossible to get into a BNI in the real estate spot. It's very, very challenging because people never leave it. It is a coveted role because BNI produces an enormous amount of business. So I started my own because I was too impatient, because I'm from New York, to actually wait that out. So, and I wasn't really ready to like murder the person that was there to take over their spot. So I started my own. And that has been an enormous source of business for me personally. Now, you don't have to start a BNI. You don't have to join one. You can, however, start a group with other professionals and meet once a week and commit to it. I'm there every week for 2 hours, and I am getting referrals, giving referrals constantly.
You're saying BNI is like a website we would go and pay to be a part of, or?
BNI, it's a membership group.
Okay.
And then you meet, you know, we used to meet in person, of course, but now we meet via Zoom. And so it's, you know, in my area, it's local to Bethany, but they have BNI groups all over the country, all over the world, actually. And it's actually pretty awesome.
And you can start your own with them?
You can. Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
What's it cost, you know?
I think it's about $1,000 a year, but it's like a year. I mean, I think it came down to like $14 a week or something. So, I mean, for me, you get literally get one referral, it pays for itself and then some, right? So, but I have now closed home for 75% of my group, either buying or selling, let alone the referrals. It's great. The other piece of it is, as far as networking, is I go to this MOB, which is this mother-owned businesses group. And again, I belong to the paid chapter of that, but you can belong to the free group. And I show up to these meetups. Now, again, we're doing it via Zoom right now, but I show up and I'm involved and I'm following up with these relationships. And this is not like the, you know, how is your family? It's not the Ford conversations. These are like real conversations, right? It's like real connections. And that's the only way that people are going to know, like, and trust you, right? So networking also comes from that for me. And so that's like the business part of it. That's sort of my lead generation part of it. But the other part of my lead generation that comes from the networking is stuff that's super easy, you guys. It's like the community groups on Facebook or Nextdoor, or if you belong to an HOA, like I'm in a community in Bethany that has its own Facebook page. I am very, very active on these things, and I am not promoting myself. I literally am a source of information and resource. So I told you that I'm very sort of data driven. I know how many actives, how many pendings, what the list to sales price ratios are. I know what the absorption rates are. Like I am very, very sort of knee deep in all of those things, so that if I do go out to the playground with my kids who are 14 and 10 and 7, if I go out with them and I happen to be chatting with a parent outside and we talk about real estate, because I promise you, real estate is super easy to talk about. Even in like a general sense. Oh my gosh, did you see that house that just went for like 700,000? I think it was listed at like 530. It's so easy. This is why people like HGTV. Seriously, everybody likes this stuff. It's interesting. The market's crazy. Like it's you are the source of information, right? So I am the source of all things related to real estate and auxiliary things that have to do with homes and home ownership. Once you become the source, then everybody comes to you for everything, even like seriously random things. And it's totally fine because that's what you want. That's why the Welcome Home book exists. So with networking, it is business networking. And then it's also social media networking where you are in the community groups. I'm in like the Beaverton moms group. I'm in a Portland moms group. And so what happens is that your name starts to pop up all the time, and it becomes about name brand recognition. People start to know you as like, yes, that's the one in real estate. And yes, she knows a lot about like whatever. Alex's hand is raised. I don't know what to do with that, but if you want to talk, go ahead.
So I was wondering when you said you're pouring over the statistics regularly. I'm sure you have something of a system with what you look at, but can you just give us sort of a brief overview? Are you looking at 24 hours? You're looking at the past week? You're looking at the past month? Are you consistently using TMO reports to supplement your knowledge?
Yes to all of those things. So number one is I am looking at your first, Chris Suarez, for those of you who know him, he owns a bunch of market centers. He owns my market center, and he's really like brilliant with the stats. And what he tells you is to go from macro to micro. So you can go to NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, if you want to go for like national stats, and that's a good place to start. Don't stay too much on that, but that's a good place to start. And then you go down from NAR you can go to OAR, which is the Oregon Association of Realtors, and they've got a ton of stats on sales and what's going on. And they're talking about like month over month, year over year. And then you go to one of my favorite things that I use is called Market Action Report. And that's right on the on RMLS for those who have RMLS, right, which is up here. But every MLS is going to have something similar. And that really has stats month over month, as far as like, here's how many houses were active in the region. Here's how many went pending. Here's how many were withdrawn. Here's how many were expired. Here's the average days on market. Here's the list to sales price ratios, right? That is, it'll tell you what the median sales price is. It'll tell you what it looked like last year, right? So this is a really good, I find that MLS, the Market Action Report is really where I spend quite a bit of time, especially when I'm doing my home buyer classes, because it's a pretty wide range. I literally cover from Central Oregon to the coast. So, because I like to travel and I get to write it off. So it's awesome. And Oregon's beautiful. So, but the TMO, Alex, that's where I spend the most amount of time. The TMO is your total market overview. This is something that Keller Williams pays statisticians to come up with and draws information from the MLSs. And this is by far, I think, the best, most concise way to show clients really what you got, because you're really showing them in area 150, which is Beaverton and Aloha, in area 155, in area 149, or whichever area they're interested in. It really does show them, look, if this house has been on the market for 2 days, you're not getting this for under asking price. Sorry. Like, and here's why. Because in this area, list to sales price ratios are 104%, which means that house prices are going here at least 4 to 5% over what they're asking, right? So you have to really be, especially in this market, you really got to like research the market, set people's expectations, right? That's why that buyer's consult is really critical. Do not go show houses without doing a buyer's consult, you guys. Do not do that. You have to set their expectations and understand sort of what's going on in the market and take all the classes you can about the market piece of it in your micro market, because you have to be the source of calm in the hurricane here. And this market is a hurricane. And last year was a hurricane for different reasons. But you have to be the source of information and the calm. That's what people need. Otherwise, they're going to listen to their cousins, brothers, whatever. And they don't know anything about the market. Oh my gosh, there's a bubble. It's going to crash. Yeah. This is nothing like 2008. It's nothing. There's a reason why things are the way that they are. And the little snippet I'm going to give you is because this was not a normal recession. We put ourselves into a recession because we had to. So we had a very, very steep comeback, right? Much different than a normal sort of housing market shift. And when we came back, we had very, very low supply before the recession, before the pandemic going. And because we have urban growth boundary things, and because we were just very under constructed, and that's the case all across the country. But in addition to that, you have like historically low interest rates. And it's not that by the way, our supply is super low. I mean, it is, but it's actually like 30% higher than it was at this time last year. The issue is you have like rabid buyers. You have much, 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 much more demand than we did at this time 2 years ago. And that's why you have 1 month of inventory. That's why there's like nothing on the market. It's not because people aren't listing. It's because they're getting absorbed by the buyers so darn quickly. So you have to know that and understand that.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Just because I'm new to this, what is like normal for inventory outside of this? Because to me, I'm like, all I know is a month, Yeah,
I know, which is good, right? This is the only market I've been in, so it's awesome. So a month of, and I should say what month of inventory means is that, for example, if you were to sell, if it's 1 month of inventory in Portland Metro, and that's like Vancouver to Wilsonville to Gresham to Cornelius in this case, 1 month of inventory means that if you were to sell every house in Portland Metro, regardless of price or location within that area or condition, that it would take 1 month to sell through the entire inventory. Now, a balanced market is usually around 5.5 to 6 months. And a buyer's market where they have many more choices would be 6 months and up. So 1 month of inventory, and about 2 months ago, it was 0.8 months of inventory. And in Eugene, it's worse, is a super crazy fast market of absorption. So when I say that I'm like very heavily into the data, I'm like, this piece of it, the reason I am, number one is because I'm a geek, but number two is because you have to know this stuff. You have to set people's expectations about what's going on out there, both for a listing and for a buyer. Condo market in downtown Portland, that's a buyer's market, actually. There are more homes for sale than there are buyers. And this was before the pandemic. This is not related necessarily to the pandemic. The pandemic probably didn't help things, but that's not where it started. So just know that this is something that's going to be important to really learn about, so that when you do your networking, that you have something to talk about. If you want to have something to talk about and you're like, oh, I'm really new, I don't really know what to say, have comfort and faith in facts, because the facts are going to get you into like your first buyers and your first listing appointments. I promise you.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Sure. No.
The TMO, is that also on RMLS?
TMO is put out by Keller Williams specifically. So it would be something that your market center would have specifically. So let me give you one more place for this too, in case not all market centers have the TMO. Most of them do, but in case you don't, on MLS, if you go into search, there's a tab that's called Hot Sheets. Hot Sheets are a beautiful thing, because you can follow what has happened. Noe, you were talking about, like, is it monthly, is it weekly, or daily, or whatever it is, or maybe that was Alex. But you can look in a particular timeline in a particular area, and it can give you that data too. If you just have to indicate what kind of data you're looking for. Okay. So if you don't have TMOs, that MLS Hot Sheet is really great. And if you don't know how to do the hot sheet, call your MLS and they will walk you through it, because it's awesome.
Okay.
It's all the statistics you could ever want.
But so I'm sure that I do, because I'm technically under the Springfield Eugene umbrella. I just happen to be in Florence. Yeah. So do you get that like on the website? I don't actually know how.
Email it to you. The TMO is
email
emailed to you. Yeah. So if you don't have it, and they may not have it for Florence because they don't have it for all coastal agents. So if you don't, then go to the hot sheets and use those.
Yeah, there is one KW agent in Florence, and she has nothing on her pipeline. So
go to that's where you want to go.
Okay.
Is the
Okay.
FDF hot sheets. It's a beautiful thing. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we talked about networking. That is, and I'm sorry, I'm going to close my door because my kids are sort of driving me crazy. Please wait. Oh, sorry, Buddha. Okay. And then I just sort of startled my dog. That's great. This is also my life, by the way. Welcome. So that is my first leg of lead generation, is networking, and I commit to it. And I should tell you too, I don't work 7 days a week. I'm not working 12 hours a day either. No way. I work from 9 until 3. I take my kids to all of their crazy after school shenanigans, and then we do dinner. And then from 7 to 9, I'm back at it. And that's it, my friends. That's it. I'm not working 24 hours a day, and you shouldn't either, because if you set that tone with your clients that you're available 24 hours a day, you are going to burn out. Don't burn out. The second sphere that I have and how I built my business is referrals and sphere. Referrals are king, because this is people who know, love, and trust you, referring you to other people that they know, love, and trust. It's like the easiest thing ever. And let me give you an example of that. When we first moved back to Portland, we didn't know anybody. And so my kids needed a dentist. And I could have like Googled and all that, but again, no patience. So I called my son's best friend's mom. I said, Michelle, where do you take Evan to go to the dentist? And she said, Behind the Smiles in Tanasbourne. Great. Do you like it there? Yeah, we love it. They're really great with the kids. Awesome. Made an appointment. We've been there for 4 years. The thing is that honestly, most people do not want to like interview 5 different agents. They don't. What they want is for someone who's had a great experience with you to just tell them what to do. We're all really like busy in this world. You know, we got a lot of things going on. What people really want is for you to just say like, hey, I love this person. They're great. They're going to take great care of you. Boom, done. So referrals, man alive. I don't care if they're not pre-approved yet. Like you take their hands and you love on them because you have a good experience with them. They're going to tell their friend, thank you so much for referring this person to me because they were great. And they will tell all of their friends. Seriously, I have one client that I had from 3 years ago. She has referred to me through friends, 7 families. And it's because she referred 2 people to me who then referred me to other people. So this one transaction where I think I might've made a commission of like $7,000 like 4 years ago has netted me at least $200,000 just from one great experience. Referrals are like everything. You can get referrals from 2 different places. And for me, it's either from professionals or it's from your sphere. So from professionals, and I'm going to talk about sphere in a minute. From professionals, one of the things that's really important is, and I mentioned this earlier, that whenever I have a closing, I am tagging everybody who had anything to do with this closing. So this is the lender. This is the insurance person. It's the escrow officer. It's all of my client gifts. My client gifts all are local vendors, all of them. They're all coming from, I do a coffee from a Hillsborough lady and tea from someone in Helvetia. I do a cutting board and a mug from someone in Bethany. I'm doing wine from someone in McMinnville. They're all local, and it's great because these are all people that are also referring back to me as well. Plus I'm also helping support the local economy. So, those professional referrals that are coming to me from lenders, from my wine person or whatever, those referrals are professional referrals. They're not from my sphere necessarily. When I have a listing, I do my video of my listing and I put up these little cards, and some of them are like, hey, look, it's a solar tube. Do you know what that is? I didn't either. Or like, hey, look, it's this HVAC has just been recently maintained, like boring stuff. But then I also put things like, this deck was just built by this company, or this home was just deep cleaned by Marine Clean, Vanessa Mayfie. You know, I'm trying to think what else we do. Like this roof just had was just replaced by you know, my like roof right services. So that what happens is that as clients are walking around the house, I'm also giving shout outs to my vendors all the time. So this kind of professional referral, you have to work for it with your profession. Don't just assume that these people, because they know you, I mean, they're not gonna know a million realtors. You've got to be of service to them. That is how the service comes back to you. For Sphere.
Wait, I'm sorry. I just have one more question. So when you say local, how local? Because you named a bunch of areas that I don't really know, and I don't know.
They're local. They're local. They're like people who would refer to me because they're in my area, right? So in other words, like I'm not going to go at 3 hours out necessarily. I mean, I could go to Bend or whatever because I do work out there, but like, I mean, if I'm not going to do something in Washington because I can't use them and they really can't use me.
Right.
So,
what about 1 hour though? Is that still too much of a distance?
That's up to you.
Okay.
In other words, are you willing to work from where they are? In other words, if I mean, you're probably not going to want to like do something from Astoria, but I mean, like if you wanted to do something that was more like within an hour, if you're willing to work out there, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to support local in that you certainly want to support your communities when you live in a small town, and you want them to be able to refer back to you, right? So it's however far you're willing to go. That's kind of your.
Right. But I mean, the reason I ask is because again, in Florence, we're kind of like at a dead halt as far as real estate goes, which is why I'm asking about that, because like even just to go to an open house, it looks like I have to go at least an hour. So that's.
I don't know what you mean by, I don't understand what you mean by that.
I mean, well, we have apparently there are just bunches of buyers that are ready to go. We have no sales. Nobody is ready
You
or
don't have
willing
an
to
inventory.
sell.
Yeah, you
We
don't
don't have inventory.
I got
Yeah.
it. Right. So if you don't have any inventory, then the way to look at that is then go out and get the listings, right? Because if there's no inventory, then that's what is needed. And the thing is that's why when people are like, oh, we're just going to wait until the market quiets down. You're like, right. So is inventory going to like magically appear? And like, I mean, that's what's driving the buyers, and the insanity is the interest rates plus just the lack of inventory, right? So like, then you should switch gears and start like, instead of focusing on the buyer's part of it, perhaps as a new agent, which is what a lot of new agents do, is then really hone in on your listing agent skills, because that's what's needed there. That's what's needed.
What if I don't have the slightest idea how to do that aside from door knocking, which seems kind of invasive during COVID?
So you can always, there's something through Breakthrough Broker, which is like a letter that says like, hey, if you, and this is only if you actually know someone, like don't make it up, but like, hey, I have a buyer, I know of someone who's looking to buy in your neighborhood. Do you have any interest in selling? I'm happy to do a free comparative market analysis for your house, but like, we are literally desperate for listings right now. And all of you can do that no matter what market you're in, because it's totally true. It's totally true. And then show up with some stats, right? Of like, hey, this is how much things are selling for in your area for comparative houses. And you can do that through a CMA, which you can do through MLS. I use a program for comparative market analysis called Cloud CMA, which I love. It's really pretty. And it just kind of puts it in a nice little packet for you. But I mean, I don't door knock. I mean, I would, you can send it to them, you can email it to them, but there are definitely people that are wanting to sell and feel overwhelmed. And I will tell you, one of the reasons they feel overwhelmed is because they don't know where to go if they sell, because the market is so awful that they don't know, like, if I sell, well, where do I go next? How can I even buy? So that has to do with how much equity they have in their homes, where they're looking to go. Maybe they rent for a couple of months, but like now is a really good time to be a seller. Like really good time to be a seller.
Okay.
From the Sphere piece of it, I have a friend in my market center. Her name is Dar Rogers. She actually brought me into Keller Williams, and her favorite phrase is, don't be a secret agent. And for those of you who are not like super comfortable on social media, get over it, because that is what people are on right now. Facebook, because I'm old, I guess. And my kids tell me Facebook is for old people. And Instagram, which I'm supposed to call Insta, but sounds ridiculous to me because again, I'm old. But there's other things as well. Like if you are someone who likes to take photographs, do tag. Oh yeah, TikTok. I don't understand anything about TikTok, Brandy. That thing is like ridiculous to me. Is that the thing where like you post it and then it goes away? I have no idea.
No, that's Snapchat.
Ever.
No,
Snapchat.
TikTok, you like, I've seen a
Oh,
lot of
the
realtors post their videos and they're like, they have captions up here. And so like they have music and it's like points to something they want to say, like, should I buy now? Yes, you should, you know, or sell, you know,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Something like
right.
that. And it'll generate, some people get, my son did one when it first came out and he got like 900,000 likes and 1 million, like you can get lucky and, you know, be seen all over the world. with
People
TikTok.
have zero attention span, and we don't want to necessarily be seen all over the world, right? But we definitely want to be focused in our markets, but people have no attention span. And so things like videos or photos or whatever are great.
There's like
They're-
15
they're
seconds. If you can get all your points in and you got 15 seconds, people watch that and they'll be like,
It's-
I want to, I'm not going to lie. I want to try and do that.
We should do that. But I'm 45 years old and I'm not TikToking or whatever the hell you call it. So, it's cool. It's fine. But the thing is that, I mean, honestly, it's all social media. Seriously, whatever you're comfortable with, and you should get really comfortable with it because people see this stuff, and the more name recognition you have, the more legitimacy you have. So that's why I'm constantly like tagging other people through all of the through all of my professionals and also all of my closings and whatever. Like we go out on vacation and I'm taking pictures. Last time I was over in Bend, I took a bunch of pictures over there to remind people that I work out in Bend, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be like, hey, remember I work, you know, like in Bend. I did a video of the lake at the park and I was like, it's so pretty here. It's really freezing, but you know what? It's also pretty dry here. And, you know, I'm out here with my family and I'm working with some clients right now. Like, I don't even have to, you don't have to hit them over the head with it. This, you know, this stuff can literally it just becomes like infused with your life. Right. And I should say too, the Martin Family Real Estate Group for me is also like, I take my kids to do these things. If I take my kids out on a showing with me, like, of course they don't do the showing with me, but they're coming with me to do it. And then we go out and we go take a hike afterwards. So I don't mind going to Rockaway or wherever, because the fact is like, I can include my family in it. It's not an either or situation for me. You know, like for those of you who have a family or have, you know, children, babies, whatever it is, like it's not one or the other. You can do both. You just have to figure out a way to like best integrate it with your life. The referral piece of it too, and I'm gonna show you something when I'm done with this too, is really important because it doesn't cost you any money for lead generation. For literally, and in networking, hardly anything, if anything. And with referrals, it's literally nothing. But I take care of my referral partners. If I get a referral from someone, even if they end up not buying or selling or whatever it is, I send them flowers. I send them something just to say thank you, because a referral means that someone trusts you and they trust their friends with you. And it's a really big deal. And it's so easy to get referrals, I swear. And it's so easy to have conversations with people about real estate out in the community, out at the park, become PTO president, become, someone was talking about like, I don't know, beer group or whatever it is. Those sort of social organization groups are so good. They're so good. Like figure out something that you like to do. Like I'm a theater geek. So I used to join with this group of ladies that would go to the theater once a month and whatever. And we didn't talk about real estate, but like they knew what I did. And I've gotten a ton of referrals from that group by not talking about real estate, just because I found something that I enjoyed outside of real estate. And who else are they going to refer to when they have real estate needs, right? Like they already know, like, and trust me. I'm going to tell you a story that was told to us through this guy. You should watch him. His name is Jason Abrams. He's a big muckety muck up at KW. I don't exactly know what he does anymore, but he came to Portland and he gave a seminar. And one of the things he was talking about was that he is a coach and he met a gal down in like Georgia, an older gal who'd been in real estate for like decades. And she said, you know, like, I don't really want to do real estate anymore. And he's like, let me come down to Georgia and let me talk to you about this. And so she said, you know, I just don't like the way real estate's done anymore. It used to be done with like a handshake, and now it's all like mechanized and all of that. His name is Jason Abrams, not James, Jason Abrams. And anyway, what he said is, what is it that you like to do? Like for hobbies, like not real estate, like what do you like to do? And she's like, I think there were 3 things, but I only remember the 2. And the 2 that I remember was like tennis. I like to play tennis, and I like to go shopping. And I was like, shopping is like a thing, like an activity? I'm like, okay. But she did. This is what she liked to do. Older Southern ladies. So the tennis, he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to ask your friends on social media or like whatever, in person or on the phone. This was before pandemic, is ask your friends, who do you know who likes to play tennis? Not your friends. Who do your friends know who like to play tennis? Right? Not the ones that you're like already friends with, but those people that you don't know yet. That becomes your sphere. So then you have all of these group of people who you haven't met yet, who all have this something in common, which is tennis or skiing or swimming or running or whatever it is that you guys like to do. Art, photography, doesn't matter. Dogs, who cares? It's something that you guys have in common, and you get together in whatever capacity we can, and you get to know people, and you don't talk about real estate. I mean, people are gonna know, like, what do you want? What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a realtor. Oh, cool. Like, oh my gosh, isn't this market crazy? Blah, blah, blah. You can always infuse stuff about real estate into conversations, but you're not selling yourself. It's not about that. It's just getting to know people and having them get to know you. And then those people, then when they have real estate stuff, or they know someone who has real estate stuff, they're always going to refer back to you. And the same thing with the shopping ladies. It started off with this group of like 10 people, and then like became like 50 people. And they just would talk about like their grandkids, and like they would talk about what they had for lunch, or I don't know what people talk about, like whatever. But again, like this woman had so much business because all she did was connect with people who had similar interests to her. And for me, this is why I do the mother-owned business. And this is why I'm in part of those community groups, because I'm connecting with women who are professional, who are in a similar stage of life than I am. And so it's just a natural conversation. It doesn't feel like Ford. And Ford is a great method, by the way, but you have to own it, and you have to absorb it into something that feels natural to you. Be vulnerable, be yourself. When I first took Bold with Matt, one of my big things, and that's it's a great course that Keller Williams puts on, was that I felt when I first came back to the Northwest that I was going to be too much for the people back here. My personality is too much. I swear too much. I'm like loud. I talk fast. Apparently I roll my eyes a lot. You know, the Northwesterners are very like passive friendly-ish. I'm not really sure how to describe them. I love it here. I've lived here a long time. My husband's from here, but I felt like I was uncomfortable in my own skin here. And I know some of you feel the same way, even if you're from here, that you feel uncomfortable, you know, because you're talking about real estate. It's something that's new, it's scary, whatever. And the best thing that I ever did was I got over myself, and I said, like, I'm spending so much energy wondering what people are thinking about me and trying to fit in and not sounding stupid, that like it was so much energy I could have spent than actually just like connecting with people in a real way. And the thing is that honestly, like if people don't connect with me and they don't like me, or they think I'm too this, that, or whatever, then they're just not my people. And it's cool, because there are a lot of people that are my people, and you all have that. They're all going to be people that like are attracted to you, that you attract, because they honor what you are, and you don't have to pretend to be anything other than that. Like I am not fancy at all. I don't wear fancy stuff. I've never wore the right stuff. I don't care. You know, like it is what it is. And if you are fancy, awesome. Then you just do you. You will, I promise you, you will connect with your people. And the social part of the referrals is a lot about that. It's really a lot about connecting with people with who you share similar interests and values. That's your sphere, you guys. That's your sphere. Family, friends, yes, of course. But beyond that, it's finding people that share similar interests with you, and just making sure that they know, like, and trust you. And then being of service to them and promoting whatever they do in business and family and life, or whatever it is. Like, be involved. Don't just like contact people once every 6 months and be like, hey, do you want to know about the market? Like, it doesn't work, or it doesn't work for me at any rate. And my last thing that I do is this business or is this buyer's class, which I do every month. And that's all about consistency for me. And again, you can do whatever you want. I'm about to start a podcast where I interview people about down payment assistance programs or homeowners insurance or health insurance or like whatever, blah, 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 you know, just something, right, to kind of get it out there. But it's about, for me, the education piece is really important, which is why I want to do the podcast and why I do this buyer's class every month and why I do a seller's class every quarter, that I'm coming from a place of contribution. You'll hear that at Keller Williams a lot. If you come from a place of true contribution and education to other people, then you will be successful. I promise you. So the buyer's class I do on Thursday, one Thursday a month from 6 to 8. And I do this with a lender named Natalie James, who I was talking to Brandy about, because I work with her all the time, and a homeowner's insurance guy who I love, who's in my BNI. And we talk about the home buying process and how to buy a house in a seller's market, what kind of strategies we're using. We talk about micro market data. We talk about lending, down payment assistance, what closing costs are. We're talking about homeowners insurance, home warranties. We're literally giving them all of the tools and all of the data that they need in order for them to be educated about the process and about the systems so that they feel more empowered by the process and not scared by it. And this is great for people that I don't know that well, because these are people that are coming from those community groups that I don't necessarily have time to sit down with for 2 hours anymore and talk about like the process when they're not pre-approved yet. But what I can do is talk to 30 of them on Zoom all at once. And then I set them up with my lender. We make an appointment right from that class and they go right to step one, right from there. And then if they're ready to go, then I meet with them right afterwards. And if they're not, perfect, they're in my pipeline. Because every time someone registers for my class, where do they go? Where do they go? Command. They go to Command right away, right? They're signing up in Zoom. You have to get their email address and their phone number, and I get the list and it goes right into Command. And you know what? What are they getting now? Even if they're not ready to buy, they're getting my newsletter once a month. They're getting my events. They have my client events, like blah, 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 whatever it is that I'm doing. That's your database, right? Like it doesn't have to be hard. I think we make it a lot harder than it has to be because we have a lot of fear about being this or to that or not knowing. But it really is just about connecting with people and being of service, which I know I've said like a million times, but it's totally true. I'm going to show you something. I've never actually done this for any of the classes before, but I'm going to do it with you. Hang on one second here. I'm going to share my screen. Where are you? Hang on. Hang on a second here. I uploaded it. There it is. Okay. All right. Do you see that on your screen? The whiteboard? Yes. Cool. Okay. This, my friends, is my whiteboard of doom. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. So column 1 is escrow. I am not saying that I am super organized. I am not. But what I wanted to go through with you is where these people all came from. So I didn't memorize all of this. I actually wrote it down before class. So escrow are all the people that I have pending right now. So 25th came from a BNI referral. Northwest 7th came from a past client. Ecola came from my networking group, which was Mob. 69th came from BNI and networking. Parrot Mountain actually came from, because I had another listing in Sherwood that they came to and they were so impressed with it that she wanted to list her house with me. So she's under contract. And then the one at the bottom, Zimmerman, is because she also had to buy something. So just because of a little bit of marketing that I did on my listing by having a really like bomb smoking open house where we had like 3 offers on the first weekend on a $1.4 million listing, we did such a good marketing job with that piece of it that I then got her listing, which was 1.1, and she's also buying for 1.1, right? So for about $300 worth of Facebook ads for the listing, that is $3.3 million, right, in volume. Not too stinking shabby. Oakhurst was Sphere. St. Helens was one of the community boards. Blue Blossom was from my sphere referral. And St. Helens was from networking and social media. And then I have 2 offers out that were just accepted. Kimmy came from, again, the community boards. And then Ben was a referral. And then in my active, if you go over to buyers, my A's are the people that are like actively looking, just so how we know how it's kind of put down. Trin and Greg are my sphere. They were friends from when I was the PTO president at my kids' elementary school back in the day. Nick and Annabeth were a referral from a past client. Megan and Mark came from my home buyers class, which came from one of the community groups. Tyrell was a professional referral. He is the son of a real estate agent who cannot practice here because she works new construction, but I've worked with her so many times on new construction and she likes me. And so she referred her son to me. Talk about like amazing referral there. Just because like, be nice to other agents because they're cooperative. You're not in competition with them. Elena and Max came from the community boards. They took my class. Same thing with Jessica and Cordero. Same thing with Alyssa and Christian. Rachel and Michael came from one of the community boards. Cameron was a referral from my sphere. Miranda was a lender referral, just because I've sent him a lot of business. Elizabeth and Nick came from a community page. Josh and Jessica came from my sellers class, and they're also buying. And Beth came from a referral from another agent. And Alicia and Connor also came from referral. How many of those came from a Zillow lead? How many of those leads did I actually pay for? 0. Nothing. The only one that you could possibly say that I could have basically paid for was because I did a listing ad on Facebook for my listing, and because I spend about $100 promoting my class, the home buyers class, just to get it out there.
And
That's
how
it.
do you promote that home buyers class?
Social media. I put the link on, I have a Facebook page that's it's a class event page. And then we have a Zoom, the Zoom link goes on that. And then I do a Facebook ad that I boost for the, in particular communities. And then I take that link and I spread it like wildfire all over those community boards, through my professional networks, everywhere. And those classes consistently have between 15 and 45 people come. We used to, of course, do those in person, right? And those were great. Those were super fun. Yeah, those were really great. But there was a limit to the in-person classes. There was only so many people you could have in a class. With Zoom, you can have up to 100 people on those meetings. And if you did it in webinar, you could have thousands, but I don't want to do that. So I do it in meeting. It's great. Like, sky's the limit. And there are so many people that have so much misinformation about the market that it's so good, because you have people that are ready to buy now and you have people that are a year out, but that's great. Who cares? I have closed people that took my class 15 months ago. Doesn't matter. Those are your pipeline people. And then later on, you invite them to client events. I mean, they're always going to stay with you. It's great. No complaints here. Right now I have 12 in transaction. I have 8 active buyers and I have 3 upcoming listings. There's a lot of business out there for all of us, right? Like, that's why I teach classes, right? It's because there's really plenty of business for all of us. There's a lot going on out there right now. You guys came in at a fantastic time in the market. You did. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, so those are my 3, right? We have the networking, we have the referral, and we have my class. That's where I get all my leads from, literally every one of them. So that, to me, is how I built my business. And it's 100% through relationships. That's it. There is no secret sauce. I wish there was. It would make it easier. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, like, if you feel compelled to buy leads or, pay for radio ads or whatever, like, that's cool. Like, you do you. It's totally fine. This is how I built my business. Everybody builds their business in a different way. Some people do great with calling expired listings or houses that are for sale by owners to see if they can help them, or cold calling, or like whatever. Totally fine. I'm just terrible at all those things. So these are the things that I focus on. And at some point, one of these legs of lead generation may not work that well anymore. And then you got to switch gears. But whatever you do, make sure that you are focusing on things that you actually like to do. And remember, this is about the relationship part of it. I have a friend who's in my market center. He just came back actually, and he actually is not so into the relationship piece of it. He just isn't. He's a brilliant guy and he's an engineer and he does great actually with investors. So he's great at that. I have people that are great with commercial because again, like it's their personality. They're really good with that piece of it. We need those folks, people that are specialize in land, people that specialize in foreclosures. There aren't that many foreclosures right now, but they're people that specialize in first home buyers or whatever it is. You got to like find out what is interesting to you. Because if it's not interesting to you, whether through lead generation or just what you focus on, like you're not going to stick with it. Just like exercise. I don't
Can I
like
ask you
bike,
about,
so I'm not buying a Peloton.
can I ask you about the foreclosure situation a little bit? Is that because people are protected right now with COVID, or is it just
They have
because?
an enormous amount of equity in their homes. Most
What was
people,
that?
they have an enormous amount of equity in their houses.
Oh,
Not
because the
gonna-
market is so crazy right now, so they're just
Because then
refining.
things are appraising, they're appreciating and they're appraising. So we're not
Okay.
seeing a lot of foreclosures because that's why this is so different from 2008 is that they don't have to get foreclosed on because they can go sell it. So when all this moratorium stuff is up, yeah, I mean, and I will tell you this too, is that people that have rentals, a lot of them got hosed during all of this, right? Like if you're a landlord and a lot of them are selling, they're definitely selling. So keep an eye out for those folks people that have rentals that want to sell. Because it's been a tough time. It's been a tough time for renters. It's been a tough time for landlords too. It's just
Yeah.
easy. But yeah, there's an economist. He is the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, and his name is Lawrence Yun. If you are like me and are interested in why things are the way that they are, listen to this guy because he has been dead on since the very beginning of this pandemic, where he basically said house prices are not coming down because here's the thing. During the pandemic, the people that were most affected by unemployment are the people who were not really buying houses, period, because they were in food service and hospitality and travel and all of that. They were the lower end of the wages. And the people that are buying houses anyway and have continued to buy homes were not affected by unemployment. And those are people in healthcare and in tech and in a lot of parts of the service industry. So the people that could afford to buy before the pandemic can buy even more now because the interest rates are lower. And the thing that's going to happen is eventually those interest rates are going to go higher because the economy has stabilized. And that's when you will start to see a slowdown in the market, not because of supply. No one expects that to go up anytime soon, but because eventually the interest rates will go up. Right. So that's sort of the stabilization. Ooh, Alex, you're from Jersey? Jersey. Interesting. Like the good part of Jersey or like Hoboken?
And near the beach. So the good part.
That's all right. Jersey has some nice beaches and nice farms, actually. Nice farming land. Yes, yes, yes. My class is not on the KW calendar because the class is for clients, my clients, right? It's not for, it's not like KW calendar is really just like education for other agents. That being said, though, anybody's welcome to join my class. I don't care. Like that's always fine. You can find me on Facebook under Martin Family Real Estate Group, and you're always welcome to sit in on a class if you're interested in that stuff. It's kind of interesting, I think. So now it's 2:43, and now I can open it up for questions.
What is your last name so I can follow you on Facebook?
Martin, Martin.
And it's Aubrey.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I
I have a
deployed
quick
with an
question.
Aubrey.
Specifically, I get maybe more to the Central Oregon market, but I guess this would apply for everyone. I know they're raising interest rates on for people who are buying second or third homes, people who are buying investment properties. So I've heard agents in the office talking about that sort of slowing things down a smidge. Can you speak to that at all?
A couple of things. Number one is that can affect the second home buyer market for sure. This is not really an investor's market. It's way too expensive for an investor's market. There are no deals to be had in this market. So we're not seeing a lot with investors, but with second home buyers, it can. But that also differs from lender to lender, because some lenders actually can offset that with other things, like other things that they can sort of sweeten the pot with the interest rates. So, you know, I will tell you that I call it the pandemic migration. What we are seeing as far as where people are buying is vastly different than it was before the pandemic. So one of the reasons I am selling so much out at the beach and at Central Oregon is frankly because if people don't have to work in Portland anymore, they're not. If you can work from home, then they would rather live where they have more land. So some of these people like moving out to Bend, some of it is, or the beach, some of it is second home buyers or investments or whatever. But a lot of these people are just moving out there because they don't have to live near where they work anymore. And yes, sometimes it's Californians too. Definitely California.
Thanks.
Also the fires and climate change, which incidentally was a lot of my motivation for moving to the coast, because I know right now with the huge temperature fluctuations, you know, worldwide, but add to that this whole corridor of fires, it just felt like a natural move to go to the coast. And I was right, but you know, with the inventory the way it is, it's been kind of
Look, and the thing about the coast is the coast was actually, it's a slower market traditionally. There wasn't always a huge amount of supply, but honestly, there was longer days on market at the coast traditionally up until the pandemic. But now everybody and their grandmother wants to move out to like Lincoln City or like Newport or, you know, Seals Cove or whatever it is, because they, you know, people like the beach and they don't have to work from, you know, they don't have to work in the city anymore. So, I mean, part of it is that, I mean, we had like a heck of a year last year, right? I mean, all of us did, but then of course you throw in the fires and like killer locusts or killer whatever wasps or whatever the hell we had going on. I mean, there was a lot going on last year. So people, it definitely did motivate people to like live their best life. If they could still work and work from home, then yeah, they moved. So now you're seeing competition in places where we didn't. There's a place called Crescent. You guys in Central Oregon may know where this is. Crescent has a population of like 400 people. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's like 45 minutes south of Bend. And I had clients that were looking for a house out there. And in a population of that low of a town, we were one of 7 offers in a town of 400 people. And we wound up going like $50,000 over asking. I mean, it was a great little house. But the thing is that like, that's what's happening out here. Even in places where people were not interested before, suddenly now people want places to run around. And look, even in suburban areas, like where I live in new construction. When we first bought this, I was like, it doesn't matter, we don't have a big yard because there's like 5 playgrounds within just a few blocks of my home, except that those playgrounds were like shut down for 6 months. And so now people are really reconsidering where they want to be, right? So these conversations, setting expectations, framing out what has happened and why we are where we are is so important to your clients and so important to your sphere. Because all they hear is stuff on the news or stuff from their friends or whatever, but facts and data don't lie, right? And so be the calm, don't be the chaos. And that comes from really understanding the market and being able to effectively communicate with people about it. Come on, quiet folks, what else you got? Bring it.
Going back to the whole, I have to go out or I should try to go out and get listings. If I don't know anyone in the area, I feel like that would dramatically impact my ability to just, you know, go and interact with them. And I was looking up specific groups in Florence, and the only group I could find was Lost and Found Pets on Facebook. So, what would my next step be?
Then you can, as far as social media groups, and start a group with people that like, I like to read. I mean, do a book club, do anything. It's just about interests, right? Like if you can't find one that already exists, then start your own.
How do I reach out to the people in Florence if I literally don't know anybody though? If I create the Facebook group, how do I make it known?
Do you go food shopping in Florence? I mean, do you do anything in Florence other than just like live there?
I do go food shopping. That's about it.
I mean, do you have pets? Do you have children? Do you have anything?
I have a cat that's terrified of everything. That's about all.
I mean, really, it's just about like wherever you go is talking to people, wherever that is. And if you're not going anywhere, and if you don't have that ability, then the next piece of it is seriously, it's the same thing as if you're looking for sellers to list. If you're just trying to get people to like to join a group that you're in, then you put it out on social media and you say like, I mean, Florence is like kind of mid to southern, right? Like mid to southern.
Yeah, I would say so.
So it doesn't have to be Florence related. It could be like, mid-coastal, cat lovers or like whatever. It doesn't have to be just in Florence. You're not going to work just in Florence, like, widen net.
I can chime in on this also.
Okay.
So I recently moved into a new neighborhood. I'm also not from Oregon, and I just wrote one handwritten letter, copied it 100 times. And I wanted to go door to door, but I was worried with COVID. So I just dropped off a letter on everyone's house step. I put in my business card. So I said, I'm new to the neighborhood. I would love to meet you, grab a beer or coffee. I won't bring up real estate unless you ask me to. And I've gotten 5 or 6 calls saying, I really liked your letter. That was so sweet of you. Let's meet for coffee this week. So, I mean, yeah, try that. Just a nice letter introducing yourself, and people will probably reach out, at least a few.
And Leah, there's a farmer's market in the spring and summer, which is a great place, which is great. Farmer's market.
I just wrote it down.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And then
door
dropping.
It's just, as I said, it's not about necessarily connecting with people about real estate so much as just connecting with people.
Okay. I was looking also, because I happen to be a really big theater nerd. I've been in theater since I was a very small child. But there is one playhouse that has been shut down for a long time, and I can't find anything in Florence. However, I know that Roseburg and Myrtle Creek has a really big theater group. So that was something I was thinking about as well.
Theater stuff is theater stuff is great for sure.
And they're so close knit and just, it's a family. So I was thinking that would probably be pretty beneficial.
Jerry, did you have a question?
I don't know if I missed it somewhere, but you had mentioned community board several times. Can you just clarify that?
I mean, community Facebook groups.
Okay.
Right. So and again, it's just finding what is specific in your region. So for me, it's like the moms groups, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be, anything that you're interested in. As opposed to like a business group. That's the distinction is my networking through business, where I'm like paying a membership like BNI or that mother-owned businesses, is different from like community stuff where people are like, hey, do you know a vet? Do you know a good pediatrician? Those sorts of, that's more on the community boards. Or Nextdoor. Nextdoor, by the way, is another really good place to reach out. It's not just Facebook. Nextdoor is a really good place to meet your neighbors. Oh my gosh, so good.
I'm actually the leader in my little neck of the woods. I'm like a lead and got that started here. So yeah, I love it.
Nextdoor is awesome. And again, you don't have to pay for ads or any of that stuff. Just make sure that it's known that you're a real estate agent and come from a place of contribution and service. But like Nextdoor is awesome because people like complain about lots of things, but they also want like advice on a lot of things too. Buy Nothing groups are another good thing. Oh my gosh, Buy Nothing is so good. So good.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
What is Buy Nothing?
It's on Facebook, and a Buy Nothing group is just a group of neighbors in various communities that have stuff like furniture or like whatever that they just want to get rid of and kind of have someone else kind of reuse, and so that they're not kind of adding to the landfill and not having to throw things out. But it's a great place I actually get a lot of staging stuff on there for my listings, but it's just a great place to like, if you have stuff that you want to get rid of, or if there's stuff that you want or whatever, it's just a great way to meet people.
Wow, I didn't know anything about that. I'm always wanting to find a home for stuff, and
it's so good. So it's just called Buy Nothing, and there are these groups that are they're set up kind of all over the community, but you can set up your own, just like BNI, right? You can set up your own if there's not one already there. But yeah, they're really great. Sounds good. Nothing. Alex, what you got?
So my background is actually in theater. I spent 3 years in Manhattan acting. So we've been here for about a year. Are also like a lot of you trying to get to know people. Auditioning for a show at the community theater. Is that something that would be too time consuming, or is the networking possibility there going to far outweigh any of that?
Auditioning for community theater and then being part of the theater, I think is super, super fun if you have the time for it. I don't anymore, but if you can, you should, because it is a really kind of tight-knit community. But sometimes you can do, if you don't want to do all of that stuff, and you can still be part of like the theater community without actually like acting in it. So maybe it's just volunteering, ushering, like, I don't know what is going on with theater right now as far as live stuff, but there's always those sort of opportunities. Yeah. And honestly, because you shouldn't like live your life in 24 hours of real estate. You should actually do stuff that you like to do. And that's what I mean, say too, is like only audition for a show if you actually want to do that. But if you just want to do it for like the real estate part of it, then maybe just do something that's a little less time intensive.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put my hand in here.
What do you want? I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can.
You hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So you said about your schedule that you don't work all day. So how do you do when you have 7 active buyers? I spend from 10 in the morning to almost 2 p.m. showing one buyer like 6 houses, 8 houses. So you have 7 buyers and you just work from 9 to 2 or?
Work from 9 to 3 and then usually from like 7 to 9. Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that?
So because I use agents in the office, I have 2 solo agents that I use at Sunset Quarter, Crystal McKim and McKenna. And I basically, for the most part, I would say about 90% of my buyers, I'm having them show the homes. I deal with all of the negotiations and agent calls and contracts and all that sort of stuff. They walk, or they do a walk before they close, and they also sit inspections if needed. So I leverage that out because I just can't do that stuff anymore. But even when I was doing showings, I would time block. Time blocking is your best friend, right? Like if you have to go with clients from 9 to 1 to be showing houses, send them to some open houses if you can. Do 9 to 1, and then do your calls from 1 to 3 or whatever it is that you have to do it. And also make sure that you are setting expectations with your clients about when you're available. I always ask my clients that question of like, what are your hours of operation? Great. Like, so they're available from, on Tuesdays from 4 to 8, like to go see homes. And also like, when is a good time to call you? I don't want to call you or text you when it's not a good time. If you have young kids or if you go to bed early or whatever. And then I tell them what my hours of operation is. And I don't work on Sundays, like ever. I try not to work on Saturdays either. Sometimes I do, but Sundays, like I don't work. And I'm not like, and done. I'm like, you can totally text or call me after 8 o'clock. I'm not answering the phone, but absolutely do that. And I will get to you as soon as I can.
When you started 4 years ago, did you set that too? I'm not working on Sundays, period.
So Sundays took me a little while, but once I started doing it, I probably started doing that 3 years ago. My children are not negotiable. So they're young and I do tea with them on every Sunday, and I took them to the zoo yesterday. And if I don't have that time to like rejuvenate and refresh, I'm not good to my clients, and I'm not good to myself. So yeah, Sunday has been a non-negotiable for a long time. Yeah.
Now, you said that the 3 things you're doing for lead gen are networking, referrals, and your buyers class. So in regard to referrals, are you actively working the referrals? Are you calling people up, a couple people every day, and just asking them if they know anyone?
Yes and no. Yes.
Okay.
And no. I am absolutely in contact with my sphere several times a week. But I am not calling them and be like, hey, who do you know that would like to buy or sell real estate? And I will tell you that since the pandemic as well, that also like coming from a place again of like service and of concern and not from like sales is really, really important. But am I in touch with my database all the time? Like my sphere, absolutely all the time. My past clients, yes, definitely. One of the ways that I do that is through client events, and I do 4 client events a year. Pandemic has changed things, but not too terribly much. Like in Halloween, we did a kind of a Halloween thing that was outside. We did a pie event right near Thanksgiving where I gave pies to all of my, from a local company to my referral, like my good referral partners, as well as my past buyers and sellers. And so I got to see them then, you know, and my kids help kind of pass out pies and all that stuff. Typically I take my clients to Street of Dreams, which is super, super fun. For those of you who've not been before, you should go. They didn't have it last year because of the pandemic, but they'll probably have it again next year. And so I pay for lunch for my clients and then pay for their tickets because it's really inexpensive to take a bunch of clients to like an event like that. I'm sponsoring, I sponsor a nonprofit that's called Buzzy's Bees. Buzzy's Bees is a nonprofit company up here that donates money to families that have lost a child. And so they're doing like a drive-in on May 1st and we're sponsoring it. So I'm inviting my clients to all of that. Any opportunity that you can get to talk to your clients is a good opportunity. And I use things like events and classes to talk to them. And I will say like, hey, we're doing that class again on like April 20th. Do you know of anybody who's interested in coming? It's that easy. It's not like, who do you want to know? Who do you know? Like, that's how it feels comfortable to me. So I'm always, again, like coming from a place of contribution with my clients. What about like all of the people in your sphere and being like, hey, you know, the market is nuts. Do you want me to do, I'm happy to do like a market analysis for your house if you're ever interested, just to give you an idea of where you are right now. You know, it's not hard. Go ahead.
Yeah, you brought up a number of different resources just to try to understand what's going on in the market. So this being my second week and wanting a couple of guy friends have, you know, talk about selling their homes and not wanting to sound dumb, you know. Are there any resources that you can think of that are good at explaining how you would understand the data that you would find on RMLS?
You mean like to be able
I don't know if that's the right way to pose the question, but maybe, you know, YouTube videos or people explaining to people that don't have a lot of experience in the industry, how you look at the data and understand it.
It's a great question. I would actually start with KW Connect.
Okay.
Gary Keller does a great state of the market, as well as a vision speech. And what he does is he's talking about sort of what's going on out there. Now, of course, that's not micro market data, but it really does frame out what's going on. The other person that does that really well is Lawrence Yun, that economist from the National Association of Realtors. Really.
Is that YUN or?
YUN. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a brilliant guy. And which market center are you with?
Realty Professionals.
Oh, KWRP? Oh, yeah. Oh, so Suarez is he's your owner. Oh yeah. Talk to Chris Suarez. He's brilliant. And he does state of the market. He's doing one on Wednesday. I think he does them at like 9 o'clock. That's a good way. Those are really good. And they record those. KWRP, who's your team lead?
Stephen Malfa is the mentor that I have.
Who's like the head of the, it's not, I think, is that Leanne?
Colleen Gordon or, a woman, Katie Harmon, maybe?
Yeah, Katie. All right, so Katie is super crazy brilliant, and Katie absolutely understands market stuff. So I would say start with your market center and ask for the stuff from Chris and from Katie and from Leslie, who is our general manager, and she's yours too, because we talk about data and stats all the time.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
just think having a better sense of that would lead to people having trust in me.
Big time. Yes. And there's so much opportunity for that in all of your market centers. But for you specifically, start with
Suarez.
Katie and Chris. Yeah, he's your OP. He's mine too. So Katie and Chris, and
And so when you say start with them, just try to listen in on everything that they're talking
Everything.
about.
Yes,
Okay.
Wednesday at 9 o'clock is the next one for State of the Industry. It's so good, and it puts it in like really manageable terms so that people like can understand it who are not necessarily in real estate. But for big picture stuff, seriously, start with that State of the Union or State of the Industry or the vision speech from Gary Keller, which he just did over at Family Reunion not too long ago. And that's all of the Gary Keller stuff is on KW Connect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Macro to micro. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, Street of Dreams is, Jackie was just asking that. Street of Dreams is super fun. It's all of these different builders and architects who get together in a certain community and do all of the super fancy houses with all of the like the latest trends and different things. It's sponsored by Northwest Naturals. So there's always like a lot of really cool appliance stuff there too, but it's all of like the latest like design stuff. So the last one was in Wilsonville, I think. And then before that, where was that? I think it was in South Hillsborough, like that Reed's Crossing area.
They had it in Tigard as well.
Yeah, they've had them for years, every year. Super, super fun. And it's really fun to go, but real estate agents have like one day when realtors can go and they go for free, but then you can get like tickets for your clients in bulk. And it's really, really fun. It is. It's just, if you like stuff about like, why is there wallpaper in the bathroom now? Like it's all the trends and stuff that are happening right now. It's cool.
And you can access that on command. Did you say? The information about it?
Street of Dreams? No. Street of Dreams is not a Keller Williams thing. Street of Dreams is just a community thing.
Okay, sorry, I must have spaced off for a second. I thought we were still talking about seminars.
No. And the seminars that we were talking about are on Connect. KW Connect is where you find all of like the videos and all that good stuff about, like from, sort of KWRI, which is the national office.
But the reason for wallpaper in the bathroom is not on there.
Street of Dreams. Street of Dreams. But Street of Dreams. But if you want to be sort of knowledgeable about like what the latest trends are and architectural stuff, Street of Dreams this is all about education stuff. It's fun.
Aubrey.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how to get started with new homes, like how to meet or where to meet builders or get involved or get into new construction, basically focus on selling new
From the
homes?
buyer side or from the selling side?
Selling side.
That's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they use their own like sales?
They do. For the large builders use their own sales staff. So you're not an independent contractor. Basically, when you work for a large builder like D.R. Horton or Toll Brothers or Taylor Morrison, West Hills, whatever it is, they usually have their own sales staff. But actually in our office, part of West Hills is represented by the Maurer Group. So yeah, it's if you're talking about listing them, they don't generally just use sort of random agents. They're people that either they have on their staff or they're people that have a really like established brokerage. Yvonne is asking, your Facebook is personal or business? It looks like personal with business stuff. I thought you couldn't put business stuff on your personal page. I put business stuff on my personal page all the time. That's not a rule. I do that all the time. I mean, I also use personal stuff on my personal page, but I post business stuff on because that's part of who I am. So you can absolutely put business stuff on your page. I wouldn't put like canned stuff on your page, like stuff that like looks like it's, you want to personalize it still to you. But Yvonne direct messaged me that question.
Do you have a business page or is it?
I do. Martin Family Real Estate Group is my business page. And then Aubrey Martin is my personal page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I do like on my business page, we just posted about like 2 pendings from yesterday. I probably won't put that on my personal page, but I'll do when I have a closing. I have 2 closings this week. I'll put those on my personal page. So I just sort of switch it up.
I have kind of like a general question. If you are approached by somebody who has questions about like selling their house or whatnot, and you don't have the answers, who would we pick up the phone and call to get those answers?
I think it depends on what it is. If it's something of like contract type stuff, I would talk to, in your case, I'd talk to Latasha, who's our managing broker, who is awesome. If it's just something like, I need advice on this because I'm wondering if I should price it at this or this, it's just your friends in the office and Matt.
Okay.
And Matt Spate, or just us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're totally, I think the thing I love about KW culture is that, and the reason I actually left my former brokerage is not because I didn't like my former brokerage, but because just the culture of sharing at KW is real. And you can really pick up the phone and call me or Matt Spate or Tosh or anybody, Daff. I mean, totally, any of us would be willing to help you at any time. And whether you're in our market center or not, like that's kind of what we do.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been able to get a hold of Matt any day, anytime, send a text. He usually texts me right away or calls me right away, which is impressive.
That's awesome.
Well, that's what makes, I think, us different from other brokerages. I do. Like, I feel like the Keller Williams culture thing is like a real thing where we try to look. I mean, I don't like, even this class, like I don't get paid to teach you, I don't get paid to teach these classes. But I feel like it's part of the giving back piece of it, which is what real estate should be, is like cooperative and all that good stuff. So that's why we're here. Jackie's asking about, if I offered to do a CMA, how do I do them? And then, yeah, Annie said like the MLS in Central Oregon has a great tutorial on how to do a CMA. MLS, our MLS, if you're in that one, Jackie, has, or any of your MLS offices, they do CMAs through the MLS. And so they can absolutely walk you through that piece of it. Or as I said, I do mine through Cloud CMA, but that's a paid service, but MLS is free. Also, if you're not already on it, I would absolutely recommend checking out the RPR, which is Realtors Property Resource. They do really good CMAs as well there. And that is free because that's with your membership of your MLS membership. So RPR, I think the website is actually narrpr.com. And it's a really, really great website. Really good.
There's also an app too for RPR.
Oh, yeah. I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's
all the
awesome.
time. Like when I'm out and about. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I love the app. Because if you're out and about, you can just check the app and you can get all of the statistics and the stuff about the listing. And it's only available for agents. So it's a really good resource.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, is there an advantage to using that as opposed to using our Flex MLS?
Convenience.
I think it's less clunky, right? Like, I think it's less clunky.
I love it. It pulls your location. You can see all houses around you that are selling, pending, and then you can pull, like I said, CMA as well. So it's very convenient.
It kind of draws in all that data, right? Like it's,
correct.
Yeah, it's great. I think that I think it's more user friendly than, I don't know about the Flex MLS, but it's definitely more user friendly than our MLS for sure.
Okay, great.
Check it out. It's nice. You can look at the website as well as the app. It's good.
And that's just throughout Oregon, or are they? Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And so it's NAR, which is like National Association of Realtors, and then RPR, and I think it's .com.
Okay.
It's really good. And we all have access to it. You've got to put in your license number and all of that. But after that, like it's, I use it like every day, all day. So are there any other questions about like I guess one of the things that I'm curious about from you guys is, where are you focusing your lead generation on? Like, how are you building your business?
So for me, I can speak a little to that. I'm still looking and trying to get a direction because I've been all over the place, from cold calling to paying for leads to trying to get referrals. But now my niche, and it helps that you have explained a little bit more about it. My niche is technology. I've been in technology for the last 12, 13 years.
Oh, good.
And so I've kind of more or less started centering myself around smart homes. and trying to incorporate that. So that, for me, that's the angle I'm going to start going down.
So what does that look like? I love that idea. So what does that look like? How does that work in like in real time?
As far as
like, how do
when
you
you lead generate?
Use that angle? Yeah.
So I have another side business that I install surveillance security cameras, and creating a conversation off of that. I'm already in homes, typically, and then or even not, you just farming. I thought about farming, smart homes. Do you have a smart homes, technology, automation, things of that nature. Looking for
What area are you in?
Portland.
Oh, you're in Portland.
I'm at the Sunset Corridor office.
Oh, you're with us.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I love that idea because, one of the things, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet, but whenever there's a closing, I personally get an email from a security, I think it's like ADT. It's like, congratulations on your closing. Does your client maybe need security system? There's a huge connection, right, between kind of like security, technology, smart home stuff, and real estate for sure. Yeah, it's really good, smart in.
That's going to be my goal. So, yep.
Like it. Well, and look, and the thing is that most people do cast a wide net when they first start because they don't know what they don't know, right? They don't know what they like yet, but you will start to figure it out. So for those people that are not, super extroverted, some people still love to do open houses. Some people love to do open houses, and open houses can be an awesome way to pick up clients fairly easily, right? They're warm leads, right? Because it's not cold calling, they're pretty warm. Some people a great way, talking about if you don't know anybody yet, how to find people for listings down in Florence, call expired listings, call for sale by owners that are on Zillow, right? It's not my thing personally, but absolutely it can be very, very effective. And expired listings are lists that you can also get from title as well. So, there's ways you have to talk to your market center administrator to figure out how people are doing it in your market center, but there are definitely ways of connecting with people for sure.
You said get from title. I don't know what that means.
Title and escrow. Your title. So where you are, you probably have Western title down there. You need some professional partners. So escrow, you have escrow down there.
Okay. I will get in contact with, you said it could be Western?
That's my guess. Western is kind of rules the roost. They have Ticor out there too, but I think it's mostly Western is out there, Western title. They have them, Western is in Bend as well, like in Central Oregon. They tend to be in the more rural areas, but yeah.
So what does that conversation look like? So you get in touch with someone like this. How do you break the ice on that level as a new agent?
So
Hi, I'm Joe.
I actually has people for this because title and escrow, you have a title and escrow officer, right? So they're there to clear title, make sure everything is good on that side. Your escrow officer is working on, all the figures and balancing and signings and closings and all of that. But they also have sales agents, and the sales agents are there to actually help you with your business. So one of the first things that you guys want to do, if you haven't already, is to identify 3 different title companies and their accompanying sales agents, because they're going to want to help. They're going to want to help you. They're in business to help, especially new agents. So that has to do with your marketing stuff. They can help you with. They can help you find, searches on houses. They have all sorts of tools that they can help you with. So if you're wherever you are in Oregon, ask your fellow market center people for their, you can say who are your top 3? I can name my top 3 right off the bat in Portland.
I think we're at the same place at the Sunset Corridor. I'd like to know those top 3.
Oh, my top 3 are Teresa Johns at First American Title, and I have Patty Standring at Fidelity and Mandy Miller at Lawyers. Those are my 3. And so those are my escrow people, but my title people, my sales people are from that market center as well. So so for the first one, it's Heather Ward over at First American. At Mandy Miller over at Lawyers is Terry Anderson. And then Patty Standring at Fidelity, which is right across the street from our office, by the way, is Brian McCauley. Oh my gosh, you guys, if you haven't done that already, you need to
Can we-
find like
would you
three-
mind typing those in to
Yep.
the conversation?
Yeah, so here, hang on a second here. So this is title and escrow. You need, so everybody should get 3 title escrow companies in your surrounding area and ask who their sales agent is. So for me, I love, this is at First American, which is right near our office, is the sales agent is Heather Ward. For Fidelity, which is across the street from us, which is Patty Standring, that is Brian McCauley. And then for Lawyer's Title, which is Mandy Miller, that is Terry Anderson. But no matter where you guys are, you all have title companies near you because they're the ones doing all the closings for refis and for everything.
So I can literally call these companies and say, who are your sales agents? What's their contact info?
Hey, like I'm Aubrey Martin. I'm new over at Keller Williams Sunset Corridor. I'm looking to get connected because they want your business. They want your business. They want you to, because you have to choose an escrow company whenever you have a listing or whenever you get the ability to write it into a contract. They want your business. So they're there to help you. Yeah, they're great. They give you all sorts of like goodies and freebies and all sorts of stuff. My buyer's books that I was talking about, those welcome home books, part of the home book are actually like mailing labels that they give me for my client's new home. That comes from Title Escrow. Everything's free. It's awesome.
Oh my. Okay.
What about lenders that you would reach out to as a new agent to set up a meeting to get?
Same thing. And the lenders, I will tell you, are like a little bit crazy busy right now because not just of the new purchases, but also for refis. They're just busy. But the best person to actually get in touch with are actually lenders that are also newer and trying to build their business. But my lenders, I use 3. So I use Vince Kingston over at Guild. I use Natalie James is the one I work with the most over at Academy Mortgage, who I love. And then I use JC Rogalskis over at American Pacific in Norenco. And again, like when I'm representing a buyer, if they already have a lender, then I go with whatever lender they have. But that I always use those as an alternative. And if they don't have a lender, I'm referring them to those 3 because they have consistently excellent service and they're nice and they have great communication. But I have a rule of 3 for every professional. I have 3 escrow people. I have 3 lenders. I have 3 inspectors that I use on a pretty regular basis.
Why?
But even like with painting, inspectors, because if
like the title and escrow, like why? How do you decide you want to use First American versus Fidelity for a given listing?
So I rotate because I spread the love. So the reason I chose those 3 personally is because I felt like the sales agents hustled and they had great communication. And when I tell them like, listen, don't schmooze me. I don't care about going out for lunch. What I want is that when I need those mailing labels is like, I want those done. That's what I care about. And if they show up and they do the work, they also title escrow companies offer CE credits, continuing education credits. So, which is also great. Like when you're because these first couple of years, you should be taking a lot of continuing education classes. Those are all through title companies. So I use the ones that have been good to me and then I just rotate. So I have like 4 listings in escrow right now. Teresa has 2 of them. Patty has 1. And I think Mandy has 1 too. Yeah.
Because do they refer business back to you in some way? Ever?
No, generally not. Escrow title companies don't really refer business back to us because that's not really what they do, but it's that their sales agents really take care of me and my people and they help us build our business. So, and the reason I use them is because like they're awesome and they're fast and they communicate well and all those good things. So it's not about them referring business back to us. It's about the fact that they have consistently good service and are good to my clients and are good to me.
My mentor told me that you should pull a title as soon as you get a listing, basically. Does that mean that I get to decide the escrow company and title that I work with? My clients don't get an opinion?
When you're the listing agent, typically speaking, yes, you're the one that decides that. If they have a particular relationship with the title escrow company, then certainly that can play into it. But 99.9% of the time, they don't.
But the client picks their lender, right? You can just recommend a few and they have to decide. Or they're supposed to?
Well, yes, yeah, they pick their lender for sure, but you can always refer them to people if they don't have a lender or if they just want a second opinion. But title escrow is one of those things when you're the listing agent. Most sellers don't know anything about escrow title or don't have any particular connection. So you choose it for them. On the buyer side, for a lender, yeah, I mean, of course, it's their money, so they're going to get to choose kind of who they want to go with based on that. We don't. But the reason I have like the rule of 3 is because I don't want my clients to feel like I've pushed any particular person on them. So that if they, for some reason, don't have a good experience, that they're like, oh my gosh, I give them choices. But with escrow title, they usually don't care. And as a buyer's agent, you rarely get the opportunity to choose your title officer because it's usually the listing agent and the seller who sets that.
Right. One last question. This sounds stupid, I guess. I'm so new. I thought that lenders dealt with escrow and title was like just a government thing. But you're saying title and escrow, that's the connection? That seems
title and escrow are the same company. It's the same company. So title has nothing to do with government stuff. Title is what they're doing is they're looking at the title from the seller, right? Like your deed. And they're like, okay, are there any easement issues? What kind of liens do they have on their property? And most people have like a mortgage lien, but sometimes there are other liens. There's construction liens, there's other stuff. So in Oregon, title insurance is mandatory. So what that means is that the title company, by the time it closes, has cleared all of the issues on title, and they guarantee through title insurance that it is clear, so that when the buyer then buys that property, that they're not saddled with any of the issues coming from whatever happened in the past with the seller. And they won't close otherwise. Now, if they close and there are issues that come up later with that property, that's why there's title insurance. And that's always said it's mandatory. And escrow and title in Oregon are the same company. And escrow is just like an escrow account, which means that they're dealing with all of like the earnest money checks, any credits that are there. They're dealing with all of the paperwork so that at closing, they're balancing all the paper so that basically what you need to bring to the table.
Yeah, that's kind of why I thought the lender dealt with escrow. Like the lender is the one who funds this loan, and then the loan is what's used to.
Escrow and title are the same people. We deal more with the title part of it, but in general, escrow is definitely something that the agents have a lot to do with. They're like the silent third party. You don't really hear from them too much until the end, but oh yeah. I mean, escrow and lenders are very connected because of course they're sending them the wires and they're sending them the loan paperwork, but we're involved in all of that. Like we're not hands off. So yeah. You definitely, and you definitely have to understand how that stuff works. And that's another reason to meet with lender or with title and escrow.
What are the things to be aware of in terms of finding a good inspector? And you said you have 3 that you like to use. And what are the things to be aware of that are good and not professional? And
so with inspectors, for me, again, it's about communication. It's about availability. The other piece though with inspectors too is that, and I know it sounds a little silly, but like they're sending reports to our clients, right? Like their inspection reports. And I find that if you have an inspector that uses a report that's not very user-friendly, that it scares the heck out of buyers. So I like ones that are very sort of clear, and I certainly want my inspectors to be thorough, but I also want them to be not scary, because a lot of that stuff is scary. And so the ones that I use are really good and available to talk to my clients so that they can sort of walk them through what things are important and what things are not. And in the report itself, it'll say like, there's red, which means like, these are safety issues. There's orange, which means like, these are things that probably should be repaired. And then there's blue, which is like, this is just like a maintenance issue and like, no big deal. And then the inspectors will like walk them through that so that they can sort of explain it to them. So I look for inspectors that have great communication and are thorough, but are not scary.
I had a quick question regarding what you said before. You were saying, I think with title and escrow people that and I've heard this from other agents in the office, to seek out lenders who are young or new to the business as well.
They'll have more time.
And to work with those people, run a home buyer seminar with someone like that who's also looking to promote their own business. I guess my concern with something like that is that I know how overwhelming it is to be a new real estate agent. I'm sure being a new lender or a new title agent, those things are also overwhelming and there's a lot to learn. So my thought was, you know, I wouldn't want to work with someone who's brand new and also trying to grow their business. I'd want to use a veteran or an experienced lender or an experienced title agent.
I get that how you would feel that way. The problem is that those veteran lenders don't have time for this. Although I have to say the home buyer class that I teach is with someone who's been in lending for 15 years, but it's also because, but she does it specifically for me. Like she only does that with me because we just do a lot of business together and what we do works. But in general, yeah, I mean, but veteran lenders are like up to their eyeballs right now in that stuff. So I understand why you would feel that way. And maybe it doesn't mean someone that's brand new, but someone who's been in the business for 3 or 4 years could still need to build their business, whether or not, you know what I mean? Maybe they're just not rolling in it yet, you know? So,
Sure.
And title and escrow people, they are a little harder to nail down on seminars. I used to do one with Patty Standring actually at Fidelity. But her time was just too, I mean, the market is really crazy. So it's really, really hard. And I understand why they don't have as much time to dedicate to this stuff. But I'm teaching a seller's class actually pretty soon, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. And I'm actually teaching that class with my general contracting friend, Trisha, because what we're going to talk about is like, what are some of the best returns on investment that you can make in order to get your house ready for sale? So she makes time for me to do it because I do a lot of business with her. And so sometimes it's not just like with new people, but just people that like really sort of believe in your business and where you have like a good history of just, you know, a good collaboration. Anybody else have any other questions at all? I know it's a lot of information, but I think the thing that I like about this Ignite is this is sort of like real world boots on the ground stuff. It's not the theoretical stuff. It's like, it's macro to micro, right? I did not see your open house question. Sorry. What was your question, Jackie? Oh, just a sec. Okay. Are there any other questions that burning?
I got my microphone to work.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I have to be on my computer and my phone at the same time because I don't have video on one. I don't have microphone on the other.
Yeah, no worries.
So how do I go about getting in touch with people at my local market center that would want me to do their open house for them?
So you would let your productivity coach know or your market center administrator. And you would just put out, there's an email list, like a distribution list that goes out to all the market centers and you just put it out there. And there's sometimes like we have a Facebook page. So you just say like, hey, I'm interested in doing your opens, or you do what Noe just did and said like, hey, any opens that you have coming up, I'd be really happy to cover those for you. And then you just talk to agents individually, and especially ones that are like listing agents, you know, ones that you can see in the market center have a lot of listings going up. You just ask them.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
When do you give out business, I mean, being someone new, when do you give out business cards and when is it probably not appropriate to do that? Or
well, for business to business all the time.
Mhm.
Right? Like if they're in business and they're a company that could be complementary to what you're doing, a good resource for your clients, then always. But you know, the thing is that I just use it as like a phone number, even for like personal people. So in other words, like, even if we're not talking about real estate, I'll just like, be like, oh, here's my number, you know, it's on my card. Like, I don't make a big deal out of it. Yeah. I'm like, this is here's my number and my email are on the card, whether it's for personal or for business. So everybody has it, you know. I mean, I'm not giving it to like my coffee barista, and maybe you should, I don't do that. But I mean, like just whenever I meet up with people, like it's just a good way for them to have it. Are there any other questions, please?
Have you had any bad experiences with title companies, like before you decided on the 3 that you mentioned?
No, not bad. I mean, not even in transactions, because remember, I work as a buyer's agent too, and I don't have any say over those title companies. So, I mean, I haven't had like some There are some I haven't had great experiences with because they don't respond, or they delay my closing because they didn't get stuff done or whatever. But I mean, you're always going to have that every once in a while. But
About lenders.
the same. It's the same thing. It's like if lenders aren't available, if they don't have good communication, if they don't, if they're not able to close the loan. I mean, I will tell you in general, if you're a buyer's agent in this market, your clients should have local lenders.
Yeah.
Not Rocket Mortgage, not
What about
Chase.
the KW mortgage? Do you have feedback?
Yeah,
on that?
Keller Mortgage is great because Keller Mortgage, we have a little bit more sort of connection and control with. But they waive all their lender fees, and I think there's like $1,000 that they put towards their closing costs as well. So yeah, Keller Mortgage is good. It's the only national company that I would recommend, but the rest of them, mine are all local. And honestly, like their service is better locally. You have much more control over the situation locally as well, and they care about like what their like they care about their reviews, like Chase and Wells Fargo, and like they don't care. Bank of America, like they don't care. The credit unions, like if you have people on point, those are good. Some they have down payment assistance programs also through some of those local like Guild and all of that. So with lenders and stuff, really, like if you can, you should try to go local. And if someone insists on something like Chase, then get a local lender at Chase, not like national Chase, because that stuff communication wise is often a hot mess. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. And a lot of listing agents don't want to deal with it because they're afraid the loan won't close. And it gives you an opportunity to refer locally, which is what we want.
Right.
So yesterday during our buyer's appointment, our client was asking what the pros were to working with a large bank like Wells Fargo, for example, and we sort of had a hard time speaking to that. So what would be a good answer if someone wants to know the pros of working with a big bank?
So sometimes they can offer really good interest rates that other people can't. But what my counter would be with that is that there really isn't a lot of pro of working with a big bank, because mortgage brokers like Guild or Academy or whatever, they actually have access to all of those programs. The only ones they don't have access to are going to be like credit unions and stuff. But as far as, I mean, I don't really find that there's really any advantage, except that sometimes they can be, work with them a little bit, sometimes on like credit, on closing costs sometimes, or lower interest rates. But again, I haven't found any of the big banks that do anything better than any of the local mortgage brokers, because they have access to Wells Fargo. They have access to Chase. They have access to Bank of America. Like all those brokers have access to the same programs. I don't really find that there's any advantage, to be honest.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it is 3:37. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. And that way, if you all want to find me or have questions about anything, you can feel free to reach out anytime. As I said, my buyer's class is on Thursday. You're welcome to listen in. I will put in my phone number. And then you will get like a review form from Matt about how you liked the class. So the question always inevitably comes up of like, how well did she follow the material? And then there's always someone that's like, 1, she didn't follow any material. Well, I already warned you at the beginning that I wasn't gonna. So you can totally put 1 if you want to, but just know it's just because that's not the way I teach the class. I think this is more fun, personally. But that said, you can totally review me however you want. Just know that I know where you live. No, I'm totally kidding. I don't.
Ideally, should we go through and do session 2?
Except you, Laura, because now I know that you live near Daphne and I do know where Daphne lives. I'm sorry, go ahead. What was that?
Should we ideally take, if we have time, do session 2 in the, the 40 pages of that in the Ignite book?
Sure. Yes. But building your business, to me, the reason I teach it this way is honestly because I think it's very personal. I think it's very personal how you build your business. But aside from basically being yourself and getting out there and talking to people and finding the legs of lead generation that work for you and being consistent, there isn't anything else. As I said, there's really no like secret sauce, right? So if you guys have any questions, my numbers are in the chat. I appreciate you guys spending this incredibly beautiful day in Oregon with me, and I got you out 20 minutes early. So thank you guys again for joining, and I'll stick around if you guys have any more questions for a few more minutes.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Welcome to Keller Williams. You're gonna love it here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Honestly, I don't know if you're looking for feedback, but to be frank, I did appreciate the way that you taught it because I learned more from personal experiences. You know, this is your experience building the business, which is why it really did speak to me, because it's not something we're reading in a textbook that, you know, there's no personal account in the textbook. So that I did appreciate.
I'm glad, because that's how I feel as well. I think there are some sessions that really do require textbooks, especially when it comes to contracts. Like that stuff you cannot, you know, that's not the personal experience piece of it so much, but this part about how you build your business is really such a, like a personal thing that I do find that going from the book is a little dry. And nothing against Keller Williams, they're recording this. Nothing against you, I love you. But it's just, I think in this particular kind of session, what seems to work best for people who are just starting out is just real world experience. I do.
Yeah, and the fact is everybody's experience isn't going to be identical. It's not always going to look like whatever example they have in the text. So I did really, you know, I did really like it. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yes,
Yeah.
We're all kind of uniquely ourselves, right? And so, and I think that's something to be like celebrated. It's not something that we say like that we're not in a box, right? Like what's going to work for me is not necessarily going to work for you, except that like there are certain sort of tenets that always work with all of this stuff, which is like the communication, the consistency, and just being really kind of authentically yourself.
I missed most of the first hour, and I'm sorry. But this is recorded. Can I access this?
Yeah.
Just to see what you had said over the first hour.
Yeah, I think so. Matt will have it, and then Mara Gregory, who kind of runs this, will also have it. So yeah, but ask Matt. I don't know who your productivity coach is. Well, is it Matt? Who is your productivity coach? Probably not Matt.
I'm not sure.
I've had to email a couple times, and Paris Bowie. She is like tech everything, I guess. She has all that. So
okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but it definitely. Yeah, but I would say like Matt is the productivity coach who runs this Ignite anyway. And so if you can't.
What's Matt's last name?
Speight, S-P-E-I-G-H-T.
Okay, great.
But they are recorded. And what we mostly talked about is like where the legs of lead generation sort of came from, especially like if you're not just new to real estate, but like if you're new to the area and don't have a big sphere.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to KWRP. That's a great office.
Thanks. You are great. Thank you.
I hope to meet you sometime.
Absolutely.
I would love to just talk to you a bit more about not time blocking necessarily, but that's been my biggest thing so far. Is like I said, I have like a 2-month-old and a 3-year-old, and my husband's going to go back to work pretty soon, and he works like 6:30 to 7. So there's going to be half the week that I'm literally like 13 hours with just the kids. Yeah. Nap times don't, coincide or whatever. So I think realistically, I'm going to maybe have like the other couple days when he's home. Those will be the days that I can do stuff. And if I only work half the week, it is what it is, I guess. But you were talking about how you have other agents that do your showings for you and stuff like that. Like they get a cut then of your commission, right? So at what point in your career did that become viable and feasible for you? Like just out the gate, you started cutting your commission down, or?
No, but I think that in your case, I think that, well, put it this way. I think it depends on how many what your client load is. For me personally, like once I got over 15 a year, it became too much. And honestly, there's just a lot of buyers in this market, and the time is really hard. So you can just throw them all into like, and it depends on how your week is split, right? You have to realize that most people are seeing houses Thursday through Sunday, right? Because Wednesday, Thursday is generally when houses are listed. Mm-hmm. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then by Sunday they're reviewing offers, and by Monday they're gone. So the first part of that week, you're not going to have a ton of showings because frankly, there won't be a lot of houses on the market to see at that point. Now, that being said, that's just about showings. That's not about necessarily meetings. Meetings with people, the thing that's great about life during a pandemic is so much of this can be done via Zoom. You know what I mean? Seriously. So you can really, you really sort of arrange that. But out of the house time, you may have to just say, here are the days, and then partner up with somebody else in the office that, and because I tell you, like, it's with the commission piece of it, it's pretty awesome. I give 15% is what I do. So like with Daphne, or with Daphne, it used to be Daphne, now it's Crystal and McKenna, is that they do all of the showings, they do the inspection, they do the walkthroughs, and I give them 15% of the commission at closing. Right. So they have a vested interest also in showing those houses. But
and your clients just think of you as a team. They don't think like that was their agent who did the showing and did everything.
No, because we set that expectation right in the very beginning. I'm like, you know, look, like it's a really, really busy market. And, you know, like I have young kids. I mean, not as young as you do, but I have young kids too. And, you know, and it's more important. This is the key word, right? It's Michaela, right? You're Michaela.
Yeah.
The key word, the key phrase is, it's more important that you see the house than you see it with me.
Sure, that's good.
Right? Because it doesn't matter. Like I'm just opening a door. Who cares?
Right. And then you do you do contracts though.
Oh yes.
But
Oh,
so
yeah.
you said you don't work on Sundays. Aren't a lot of like you have to put in your offers on Sunday by Sunday night or whatever? Like
Usually review time is Monday. If I absolutely have to, because it's review is Sunday. I mean, oh my gosh, I'll tell you this quick little story. And this is why you're like, agents. There was this house in North Plains that went live on Friday. Saturday, there was an open, and they wanted offers in by 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, but not just on Sunday, on Easter Sunday. And so I wrote the offer Saturday night because I knew I didn't want to work Easter Sunday. And then what happened is we ended up in a backup offer, which is basically what happens is that they offer the house to the person that they offer that they like better. And then we're in backup. So if anything falls apart with that first offer, then the second offer comes right. So that second, they wanted us to be in backup offer, but there were like 10 offers, as they always are. And she's like, here's the thing. We want you in backup, but you need to decide and have your client sign in the next hour if you want to be in backup. And that was like on Easter at 2 o'clock. And I'm like, I'm out with my kids right now. And so sometimes you sort of just like, unfortunately, and that was a 2-second thing where she sent the addendum and we just signed it or whatever. It took 5 minutes. And yes, I did do that, but I don't meet with clients on Sunday. I don't tour on Sunday. I don't do listing appointments on Sunday. I don't have meetings on Sunday. Do I have to write a 15-minute offer every once in a while? Yeah, sometimes, honestly. Sometimes I do, because I'm the only one who can write it. But you are going to be someone who really needs to protect your time, which means that you are going to have to be really good at time blocking. Which means that, like, on the days that you are working, that you've got to like get stuff done so that the times that you're not working, right, you're just basically front loading your week, right? So instead of like working 5 days a week, you're going to work 2 days a week or whatever it is. You're just going to have to work longer hours on that time.
Yeah, and I know this is super personal to me, but there's only 2 dudes here, so I'm going to use your time, guys. My husband he works, like I said, all day when he works, but it's half a week. He currently works Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but he has the option to change his schedule. Coming up pretty soon, he could work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday instead. I asked Matt if one would be more beneficial to me, and he said if you time block, any schedule works. But I'm like, realistically, as far as showings and meetings and contracts, like, would I be more useful to people if I could be fully available
Thursday, Friday,
Saturday instead of?
Yes, 100%.
That's what I thought.
100%, because that's when houses are live. I mean, if you're talking about, not as far as like if you're making your calls and stuff and all that, not your lead generation stuff, that can be anytime. But you're talking about like putting in offers and showing houses. Oh yeah, there are no houses available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, at least right now.
Well, with the showing time on our MLS, like you can schedule to go see.
There's just nothing available because all of the houses are under contract. Houses on market. Where do you live?
I'm in Hillsborough. I'm at Sunset Corridor.
Oh, yay. That's so exciting. Oh, cool. Yeah. In our area, seriously, Michaela, like, I am not kidding. Like, houses days on market is like 3 or 4 days on market and then they're gone.
Crazy. And the ones I was doing searches this weekend, I wanted to go find some open houses, but there was a bunch of houses near me and they have renters in them and you have to put in an offer and then have an inspection. Like, you can't even see them.
Yeah.
So I can't, like, I'm trying to go see 10 houses a week. And then yesterday, I mean, we had, like I said, we had out of town family in for the weekend, so I couldn't go to open houses. So I'm trying to look for showing time stuff and there's like nothing.
Open
Yeah.
houses, yeah, we do have quite a bit of open houses. So you know what? That's a great question for, hey, look, I mean, I don't know about Taylor, but the rest of us are all at Sunset Corridor. That's so awesome. Yay. So on the KWSC page, the Facebook group, you just say like, hey, is anybody having open houses this weekend? And then like I have one, I can tell you, I mean, it's in Fairview, so it's not super close to you, but the agents will respond and say like, yep, I've got one coming up, and they'll let you know, like just.
And they respond quick too.
They do.
That's
Well,
cool.
not just about, not
You're
just,
looking for a host, and it's like,
not just for an open house host, but just to go to one, like just to attend one, just
Yeah.
ask them, but ask it on that mastermind, that KWSC mastermind group.
Okay.
Is great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But seriously, with your schedule, really like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be much more important because that's when you can see stuff.
That's what I was saying. I just like, my husband's had that schedule for literally 20 years, but he has the option now. He just got a new position and he could swap. So, but that means like all his friends would, change. So it would be a massive change to our family, and I would need to justify it to ask him to do that.
I think if he can, like, when you need to work is really those days. It is, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's just not going to be anything on the market at that point. Everything's gone and nothing gets listed really till like Wednesday, Thursday, usually Thursday, sometimes Friday. Because
Yeah,
the reason
actually, I'm going to be more of a buyer's agent, right? That's just kind
you
of.
will initially, I mean, not, I don't want to say it's like definitely true, but most people when they start as agents, they start as buyer's agents.
But either being a buyer's agent or a listing agent, both of those jobs is better to have that availability that the Thursday, Friday,
So
Saturday.
listing agents, so here's the thing, listing agents, it's different because listing agents is just about going on listing appointments, right? But I will tell you how my listings go. So Monday, all right, so say that we're listing on Thursdays, right? So the goal is you list on Thursday, if it's in town, Hillsborough, Beaverton, Bethany, not rural basically, then I do a Friday night open, Fridays from 5 to 7. And then I do Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays, I do opens from 1 to 3. So in order to prepare my listings for that, I have a cleaner that comes in over the weekend or on Friday. I have a stager that comes in on Monday and does all the staging. And then usually Monday afternoon or Tuesday, I have the photography, the Matterport, the video, blah, 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 is all done on Tuesday. Wednesday is when we compile all of the marketing stuff, and then we go live Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then by Monday, we are under contract. It is a well-oiled machine, my friend.
Staging is only for vacant houses though, right? Otherwise it'd just be Monday, you tell people to clean their house up.
No, so I mean, it depends. It's not a hard and fast rule, right? This is just how I run my business. But like the one in Fairview that I have coming up this weekend, she lives there still. And so I still have a cleaner come in and clean. Usually I'll just have it done later in the week. Like I'll have it done on like Sunday as opposed to like Friday, because she's like living in it. So like my cleaner came on Saturday this week. And then Monday, which is today, Crystal is there actually doing the staging. And then my husband just left because he's my photographer. So he'll be there at 4. And then tomorrow, and sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Tuesday. And then we compile all of the marketing over the next couple of days, get everything into MLS and load it on the website, and we go live.
How do you stage a house that has people living in it though? You just pretty much just like they empty their stuff into the garage or something?
So it depends. So I have this is like a whole different conversation, but I have listing packages. So there's basic, there's premium, and there's concierge. So basic is, and this has to do with how much I'm charging, right? For my fee. Basic is that we will just do light staging. So we just tell people like, put away all your stuff, like seriously, like put stuff in garages, or if it's vacant, that's another way. We bring in like the little plants from IKEA, the little towels, the stuff for the kitchen, the tchotchkes or whatever it is that you call them out here, I have no idea, but whatever, the doodads. And so that is my basic listing. My premium listing, if there's someone living in it, I have a stager. It's actually Daphne who lives in our office that that gal was talking about. And she will come in and she says, you have stuff, you're living in it. And I'm going to give you a whole list of what to do to prepare. Right. So I want you to move this painting here. I want you to move this couch this way. I want you to put all of this stuff in the garage. Like she has a whole list, and I pay her for that because it's premium listing. So
you pay her up front, right? You don't wait for the commission.
Yeah, I pay her when she bills me. Yeah.
What do you pay her? What she charge?
It's $150.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, and that's a staging consult. right? So there's my staging, which is like light staging, and that can be whether they live there or not.
Mhm.
There's the staging consult, which is in my next package, which is like they're living there, but you know what I mean? So, but we have to move their stuff around, and she gives them all of that. And I don't move their stuff around for them, but, and then the concierge listing is the full service staging. And that's when they're not living in the house. And I mostly try to kick them out of the house, honestly, because people living in the house during a listing is really a pain in the ass, but oops, I mean, pain in the rear. Sorry, recording.
Oh, yeah.
But the full staging is, I mean, staging can be $4,000 or $5,000, right?
Right, yeah.
A lot. And so it just sort of depends, but those are the different things you can do. You can either
Probably
do
don't need that right now, right?
I've done 3 concierge listings in the last 2 months. You'd be surprised.
For like multi-million dollar homes or what? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, one was 700,000 in Cooper Mountain. And then the other one was, 1.4 and then 1.1. Yeah.
I guess it depends on how fast they want to sell it, right?
Because staging sells houses. It
Yeah.
does. And it can sell it for a lot faster and a lot more money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Jamar, your kid is really cute. Sorry. I love when kids like intercede and you're like, oh, so cute.
She was sitting here talking to me. Sorry.
I mean, it's family life. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how I do it. That's not how everybody does it. Right. I
And
mean,
so
there's-
when you, for your listing presentation, you let them know, like, we can do, like, what else varies from your basic premium and concierge besides staging? What
friend me
other
on
features?
Facebook and I will literally email you. what
I have
they're-
already. I did that and your professional page too.
Okay, so I will message you with the actual document so that you can see what it looks like.
Sweet.
So it'll show everything that we do. And there's certain things that I do for all my listings. Like I have all my listings professionally cleaned because frankly, part of that is a control thing for me. I'm like, what you think is clean is not actually clean. And so I'm having my professional cleaner actually clean it.
Yeah.
So and also because with
Okay.
COVID stuff, we want it to be clean,
Hmm.
right? Like we want it to be sanitized. And then I always do photography, of course, like professional
Yep.
photography. For some I do, depending on like what the listing package is. For some, I will just do what they call a carousel, which is just like a video of the photos. For my concierge listings, I will do like a professional video with like a voiceover and all of that. It's super fancy dancy. I always do Matterport on all of mine. You know what Matterport is?
Mm-mm.
It's like a 3D, like going through a house and it looks like you're going through, what do they call that? Like 3-dimensional.
Is that an additional
Yeah.
service or is like another company does Matterport or do that happens?
Well, my husband's a photographer. We have a Matterport camera. So it's an actual program.
Oh.
For my premium listings, we put on floor plans as well so that people, but part of the Matterport thing, honestly, is something that we should be doing standard because we don't want 1 million people in a house if we don't have to with like with COVID stuff, right? So,
So when I pick a photographer, I need to make sure that they have that. that
Matterport,
ability.
yeah, Matterport, yeah. And what else?
Is that your
am I-
husband's main business or is that just what he does for you?
He's my director of operations. So he works for me and he has for 20 years. Poor guy.
Exclusively though, or I mean, does he want my
No,
business?
he,
too,
no,
or-
he works for other agents too. Yeah, he works for other agents. Although like, it feels like cheating, but it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Just
That's
make
one thing
it-
I need more information. Like you said that this Ignite is more boots on the ground, but honestly, a lot of it's pretty theoretical too. Like there isn't a lot of like, this is what you do. Like did you notice everybody perked up today when you're like, you should have 3 title, you should know 3 title people. Everyone's like, what? Oh my God. Like I should, like, we don't know.
Because
what
this
to
is the
do.
stuff that's going to build your business. Not to say that the big overarching themes don't, they do. It's just that
Sure.
like, if you guys want to know like how to start building immediately, it's
Mhm.
literally about making like connections and personal relationships with people.
Sure,
And
fine.
that
But
starts
like
with-
when I finally get somebody, what am I supposed to do? Like I had my friend's mom wanted me to meet with her. She's like, literally, my mom's might go see a house today. And I'm like, oh, well, you would need me to go with her. And then we would have to write a contract tonight or tomorrow morning. Is she pre-approved? Is she ready for that? Like, and if she had said yes, I was like, oh my God, in the next like 4 hours, I might be writing a contract. I've never done anything. Like I was happy it fell through. I'm happy she wanted to wait.
But when you get to that point and you need to write a contract, then you call Matt.
Oh, I did. I talked to him afterwards and I was intending to deal with him, but that's just my point is that like, I've been on command and everything for like 2 months. And I don't know any like the literal logistical boots on the ground steps.
So
of-
the command stuff is really important because that's your database, but the boots on the ground stuff is really like how you build your business. That's
Right.
part of it, right? So this is where we talk about like the lenders and the title companies and your inspection people and all of that stuff, right? Like, but that's why we're here. It's hard because you guys started during the pandemic when the office wasn't actually open, you know, but
Right.
like usually like we're all in person and you just pop into my office, which is right near the break room, by the way. And you just be like, hey, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Can you help me? And
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I'm
so
just surprised there's not like a literal checklist. Like when you sign on, you should introduce yourself to 3 lenders. You should introduce yourself to 3 title companies. You should know the name of the company that puts the signposts in the yard or whatever. Like, and Matt mentioned at a house walkthrough the other day that you can go to the office and get a sign and put like your name on it to give to the post hanger people or whatever.
yes.
So like there should, I feel like there should be like a list somewhere of all these companies that I should go to or that I should know of, and the steps, like a checklist. And there isn't any kind, because there's got to be a recipe. I feel
Wouldn't
like
that be nice?
I totally do not at all disagree with any of those things. I do not disagree with that.
I'm just
And
surprised that it
part
doesn't
of your
exist already.
It should be part of your orientation.
Right, and it's not.
Well, I wouldn't say the thing about like title companies and all of that, because that, I mean, that's just sort of like my thing about building your business. But when you're talking about like, I think you say like, here's a list of all the title companies and their salespeople. Here's all the list of, right, like design companies, right? Like here are, I mean, the lenders and stuff, that would be just like massive. But I mean, you're right. There are some things like, here's what you do. Like, so for your A-frames, for your open houses, those are something that you can buy from the office. Same thing with the, what do you call those, directionals, you know, the booky things you put in.
Yeah.
You can buy those from the office. But like the signs for the sign hanger, yes, you have to put on your stickers. Yeah, I don't, you know, here's the thing. Like when I first came onto KW, I wasn't onboarded either. And it's frustrating because you're like, there's so much I don't know and I don't know what I don't know. So how the heck am I supposed to know?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, I get it.
Ask.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know. So that's where I'm at right now.
I get it. And that's why you talk to people like me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're in the same office. And I'm like, you know, Beth Perez, she left.
Of course I do.
Yeah, no, I can see her house from my window right now. She sold me the house on her street.
Oh my gosh, I love
And
that.
we bought our first house from her 10 years ago. Like she's one of my best friends and she's gone and it's sad. But I have
know,
Zoom
back in
meetings with her.
Pennsylvania. That's
Yeah. But so I have her as a reference, as a mentor, but that's just, you know, every once in a while too, like nobody is close. And so you can be my buddy if you want. I'll be your buddy.
I will happily be everybody's buddy and answer all the questions. And yeah, absolutely. And honestly, there's a lot. Jesse Dill is another like fantastic resource. He is in the office on the corner of mine. He was on Leadership Council for years. He's like the best guy. I love him to pieces. He's
I should reach out to him. He has a directional like a block away from here for a house in the neighborhood.
Are you in Hillsborough?
Everywhere.
You live in Hillsborough? Yeah.
Off Singing Woods by Bridge Park.
Oh, I love that area. Yeah. Jesse was born and raised in Hillsborough. So he's got a heavy Hillsborough connection.
Okay.
But everybody on your ALC, right? I am the equity chair. And then Kimberly Felicic, Matt is on there. Justin Green, Katya, Kaiser. I mean, there's a whole list of us. We should be your first stop if you don't know where to go for information, because we're your leadership council.
Okay.
I'm excited though. You guys are all in the market center, and it sucks that like it's been like this where we just don't get to see each other face to face. But there is a happy hour. What is it for? I don't even know what it's for. Oh, it's for Red Day. It's a Red Day happy hour.
Okay.
It's on Thursday at like 4:00 or something. And it's in person with masks in the big training room. But I think your husband works during the week, right? He works on Thursdays.
He's home for daddy leave for another month.
Oh, okay. So you should go to that if you can. Everybody's masked up and everybody's like,
okay. And then Matt was talking about doing Food Truck Friday, but I haven't heard any follow up on that yet. So
what is it called?
Food Truck Friday.
Oh, Food Truck Friday. Oh, cool.
He said he's going to do that this week. I should have to confirm.
Now the office is like open. Like it's open. I'm not going to be that. I used to go almost every day, but I can't right now because my kids are only in school like 2 hours in the morning. So it's
it's silly.
But I mean, it's great. They're happy. So yay, but it doesn't really help with that stuff. But yeah, but I usually try to go in once a week, like and I'm there like all day so I can get stuff done. Oh, Lacey's here. Oops. I got a boogie. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
No, it's cool. Thank you so
I
much
thought I
for all
had
your
hearing.
help.
My
And
pleasure.
I'll message you a reminder to send me your listing presentation or your listing.
Yes, the different things. Yeah, I'm here anytime, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. It was fun to meet you.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Bye.